Okay, well, good evening, folks, and welcome inside the Macon Centreplex here in Macon, Georgia, where the Mayhem get set to host the Knoxville Ice Bears for the first time since last April, the first time since the 2019 President's Cup postseason, a series in which the Mayhem do not want to remember, but new memories on the horizon here in Macon. The Mayhem hoping to reverse their fortunes against a squad which they really got the better of during the bulk of last season, but towards the end, once Knoxville began to get familiar with the Mayhem squad, they began to adjust their game plan accordingly, and come playoff time, the Ice Bears managed to eliminate the Mayhem in 2 games. That was 7 months ago. Tonight, a new challenge awaits as the Mayhem look to bounce back after being dropped on 4 consecutive games at the hands of the Peoria Rivermen. The Rivermen now the only remaining undefeated team in North American professional hockey. Playing 4 straight games against them is a Herculean task for any team in this league. And though the Mayhem could not get any points from them, it was expressly stated by Mayhem head coach Leo Thomas that having a series like that so early on into the season is critical in terms of the learning experience that can come with it. The Mayhem hoping to apply some of the things they learned in those tough defeats to tonight's contest against the Knoxville Ice Bears. Knoxville is a team coming into this game that's taken points in all 4 of their last games. They've won 3 of those 4 games. They're on a hot streak as well. And the Mayhem had an opportunity to snap one team's hot streak. They couldn't do that. They've got an opportunity here for redemption tonight against Knoxville. Last Saturday, the Mayhem got off to a dominant start. They were by far the better team in the first 20 minutes of play. They outshot the top-ranked team in the SPHL 22-7 in the opening period. Unfortunately, their early period control went unrewarded as all 22 of Macon's first period shot attempts were dealt with by the goaltending of Jeremy Brodeur. His stellar play in net allowed the Rivermen to stay in the game, which turned the momentum in the Rivermen's favor. And the reigning Coffee Trophy champions used it to their advantage in the following 2 periods, outscoring Macon 5-2 for the rest of the game. The second period was evenly played. Both teams struck twice and registered 10 shots on goal, but the visitors took over in the third, tallying 3 unanswered strikes and skating to a 5-2 triumph. Closing out games and playing a full 60 minutes is one of the keys of tonight's game. It's something that Leo Thomas has expressed as being one of the issues which has plagued the Mayhem in the early going this season. Tonight presents another opportunity for Macon to log a complete tilt from start to finish and to make up some lost ground in the standings. Right now, the Mayhem sitting at 8th in the SPHL, a 2-4-2 record. And Knoxville, by comparison, at 4-2-1. A +4 goal differential and the second best penalty kill in the SPHL. That's nothing new. Last season it was really the same story. They had the best PK in the league. This season it's a little bit counterintuitive because Knoxville coming into this tilt, it's interesting. They're a very high-scoring team. They lead the league in goals for per game with 3.86. Leo Thomas described this as an exceptionally fast team. That'll be a north-south type of game, lots of 2-on-1s and odd-man rushes. The Mayhem also a fast team, obviously, so we'll be seeing a lot of up-and-down action, I would think, throughout the game tonight. However, goals against have been an issue for the Ice Bears. They've allowed 3.3 per game, and for a team that's struggled to put the puck in the net so far this season, the Mayhem ranking 9th in the league with an average of 2 goals scored per game even. This is a welcome challenge, a team that's very offensive-minded, and through the first 7 games of their season has ranked 1st in goals for and 9th in goals against in the SPHL. So right now, Macon, like we said, at 2-4-2, can improve to 3-4-2, can creep back up to the 500 plateau with a back-to-back series victory. They host Knoxville tonight. They host Birmingham tomorrow night. Tonight, of course, is our first family 4-pack opportunity of the season. For those of you who are not aware, we're going to be doing a family 4-pack the first Friday night home game of every month throughout the rest of the campaign. So this was the first one. The next one will be on December the 13th. After that, Friday, January 3rd, then February 7th, and then March 27th. So tons of opportunities to bring out some friends and family to a Mayhem hockey game. A very affordable family 4-pack option. For just $50, you would get 4 tickets and a $30 gift card at Texas Roadhouse. Taking a look at the three keys of tonight's game while we've got a second. Number one, competing a full 60 minutes of play. Like we said, that was one of the issues. That has been one of the issues facing the Mayhem so far this season. The last weekend in particular, they got off to a great start. Like we said, out shooting Peoria 22-7 in the first period. They had a similar third period in game one, but it was too little too late that time around. So they've had great surges in which they've been the dominant team for extended stretches, but it's never been extended enough, really, outside of a couple of games this season in which the Mayhem have played at their best for an entire 60 minutes plus. And that's not only has Leo Thomas talked about that, but the players have as well. Some veterans on this team like Danny Caesar and Marcus Ortiz, both of whom are former Ice Bears. We'll talk about that a little bit later. They've both told me as well the team needs to do a better job of playing a full 60 minutes going forward. The second key of tonight's game, generating second and third chances. In all likelihood, the starter for Knoxville will be Hayden Stewart, unless Jeff Carr throws us a curveball. Stewart has been a pretty solid goaltender here in his second season in Knoxville. He played about half the season last year with the Ice Bears. Really kind of took over the reins in net, took over for Michael Santaguida. And Cody Porter for a little while there last season was also in Knoxville. But Hayden Stewart, the Cornell University graduate, he played very well in the postseason last year. It was a big part of the reason why the Mayhem struggled to score on Knoxville in those two games back in April. And we expect him to get the nod to start in net tonight for Jeff Carr and the Ice Bears. So getting second and third chances on him is going to be critical. And that's also something that was maybe a little bit lacking in the series against the Peoria Rivermen. Peoria was outshot by the Mayhem, I'll remind you, by a hefty margin in all four of those games. Now, one might think it's got to be the goaltending then, right? If the shots on goal are so lopsided in the losing team's favor, the problem's got to be the goaltending. But that's not necessarily the case. Peoria had higher quality scoring opportunities than the Mayhem did, really in all four games. Start to finish, Macon's scoring attempts were just not really as glorious, you could say, as Peoria's were. Their opportunities came from rebounds, from deflections, from point-blank shot attempts, from shots in the slot. Real estate that comes at a high price, but Peoria was willing to pay it. And Macon would on occasion, but they've got to get more consistent at it heading into tonight's game. So generating second and third scoring chances is the second key. And finally, simple passing plays. We've had a few ice issues before this game, folks. There's an ice logo that was installed pretty late into the week, and the last minute installation job sort of made for some ripples in the ice and some cracks, and it's even colder in here than it normally is in order to attempt to freeze that ice over as quickly as possible. The staff here, the fantastic arena staff at the Macon Centreplex, were up all night really working on it, but it's still a little bit chippy down there in certain areas, and with it raining outside and there being a few minor leaks in the building, there are also some drops on the ice as well from the leakage. So the ice is not going to be perfect. That much is clear. It is going to be a chippy night, and really just attempting simple passing plays, I think, and simple stick handling plays is going to be a key for winning tonight's game as well. Not trying to get too fancy with the puck, overpassing it, over stick handling, which is an issue that you often see, I'd say, at the SPHL level, is going to be your third key of tonight's game. Just sort of stemming off that a little bit, if you look at the NHL level and you look at the way that most goals are scored in the National Hockey League, they're not, highlight reel goals in which one player stick handles through a maze of defenders and cuts to the net and scores, though that does happen, obviously, at the pinnacle of the sport. It is far and away the marginal case. Most of the time, goals are scored by crisp, simple plays in which maybe a player will stick handle once or twice, dish it off, he'll stick handle once, maybe twice, and score. I think oftentimes that's sort of lost on a lot of younger players, a lot of players in minor pro hockey, and just in general, I think oftentimes less is more when it comes to stick handling the puck. So we'll see if the Mayhem can complete those three keys of tonight's game. I think if they do those three things, they will be in a good position to come away with 2 points tonight against the Knoxville Ice Bears. Taking a look at who's hot for the Mayhem. Number 1, Danny Caesar, a former Ice Bear, played 4 seasons there, was an alternate captain there last season. He scored a goal in both games last weekend. And his fellow former teammate with Knoxville, Marcus Ortiz, leads the Mayhem with 4 goals. He's been hot as well, got off to a good start this season. And finally, Danny Perez, who's been sensational since joining the Mayhem. He has only played 6 games here in Macon, and he's already got 7 points. So 3 goals, 4 assists in 6 games for Danny Perez, number 40 in the Navy sweaters. He'll be somebody to watch tonight as well. Taking a look at some players who are hot for Knoxville. Number 1, Marley Quince. He's tied for the league lead with 11 points on the campaign, 7 of which are goals in as many games. He's a rookie wearing the number 25. Marley Quince, somebody the Mayhem will have to keep a close eye on. The graduate of Clarkson University, played 4 seasons at the Division I level. And then Bryce Nielsen, he's got a point in 6 straight games. He's got a nice little streak going over that span, 4 goals and 5 assists. The only game in which he's been held pointless was the season opener. And then finally, Ricky Kramer, Knoxville's top scoring defenseman, who's got a point, or 5 points rather, on the campaign. He leads all SPHL defensemen with 5 assists. These have been your players to watch. The starting lineups for both sides will be announced momentarily, but first taking a look at the officials for tonight's game. The referee for tonight is going to be Jason Lordy, his linesmen Sean DeLoey and Corey Fossa. This is going to be the first head-to-head matchup between the Mayhem and the Knoxville Ice Bears this season. It's also our first whitey-tighty toss in franchise history. Folks here who have been welcomed into the Macon Centreplex tonight and on this rainy night in Middle Georgia have been encouraged to bring out some cold weather gear such as underwear, socks, scarves, gloves, etc., and toss them onto the ice after the Mayhem score their first goal. All products thrown onto the ice will benefit the DePaul Project, for a local charity known as Daybreak here in Macon, which assists the less fortunate and homeless folks throughout the Macon area throughout the upcoming colder months this winter. So it's a wonderful cause, and we hope to see lots of whitey-tighties, gloves, socks, and scarves thrown onto the ice after the Mayhem strike first. The starting lineup for the Mayhem is being announced right now. Oleg Kalaman's been given the nod to start. He'll be lined up on the left wing side. Oleg Kalaman's played in 7 games this season for the Mayhem, is yet to register his first point. 10 penalty minutes throughout the season. The 6'4" Russian, and then Zach Urban, another tall defenseman on his right. The only remaining right-handed defenseman the Mayhem have at the moment. Stephen Pirog, the captain, centering Macon's starting line. Pirog leading the team with 7 assists, tied for the team lead with 7 points. Stepan Timofeyev on his right. He's become a fan favorite here in Macon after what he did to Peoria goaltender Eric Levine last weekend. We're going to hear from him during the intermissions throughout this game, as he was one of our guests on Line Change last week. Stathis Sumalitis lining up on the left flank of Stephen Pirog and Stepan Timofeyev. Kevin Etma making his surprise return to Macon after a brief stint in Orlando with the Solar Bears, the Tampa Bay Lightning's ECHL farm team. Kevin Etma is back, and he is starting tonight for Leo Thomas and the Mayhem. The starting lineups for the Knoxville Ice Bears will be announced momentarily, but first the singing of our country's national anthem will take place down near the blow-up, the Mayhem blow-up, which is often brought to community events and appearances and whatnot. They're taking it apart right now. After the singing of our country's national anthem, we'll get to Knoxville's starting lineups and more right after this. Keep it right here, folks. You're listening to Macon Mayhem Hockey on the Mayhem Broadcast Network. A wonderful job singing our country's national anthem. Moments ago, the starting lineups for your Knoxville Ice Bears are as follows. They're going with Hayden Stewart as predicted in net. He's played all 7 games, has not had a rest so far this season for the Knoxville Ice Bears. He's going to have a busy night against a Mayhem team that ranks second in the SPHL in shots for per game, 35.4. The amount of shots for per game the Mayhem average, which is substantial, second only to the Pensacola Ice Flyers. And that's a number that, if doesn't strike fear into the hearts of their opponents, will at the very least get their attention. The Mayhem issue right now is getting higher quality scoring chances. They've not been able to convert enough of those shots into goals. That's, like we said, one of the keys of tonight's game, and will be worked on, I'm sure, throughout the evening. On defense, the Swedish-born blue liner Charlie Granath, flanked on his right by Cooper Jones, number 18 rookie for the Ice Bears. Up front, Bryce Nielsen with Marley Quince and Jacob Benson. This is the 9th game of the 2019-20 regular season here in Macon. The Mayhem hoping to improve to 3-4-2 with a victory tonight. They're currently 8th in the SPHL with a mark of 2-4-2. The referee for tonight's game is Jason Lordy. The linesmen are Sean DeLoey and Corey Fossa. This game is just about underway. Stephen Pirog will take the first faceoff of this game. He'll be countered by Jacob Benson. Benson, a rookie out of St. Cloud State, born and raised in Fighting Sioux territory in Grand Forks, North Dakota, now known as the Fighting Hawks. Stephen Pirog wins the opening faceoff of this game, which is now underway as Zach Urban slides it to his left for Oleg Kalaman in the Macon zone, and Stepan Timofeyev receives the pass from his countryman and dumps it in on net. Hayden Stewart makes a glove save 12 seconds into the game, and we get our first whistle and stoppage in play. Stepan Timofeyev, a native of St. Petersburg, Russia, spent the last 2 years in the Federal Prospects Hockey League and appeared in back-to-back finals with the Port Huron Prowlers and the Elmira Enforcers. That was our trivia question at line change last Tuesday night. The puck was won by none other than Sean O'Brien, a diehard Mayhem fan who is in attendance. Bryce Nielsen's clearing attempt is blocked by Stepan Timofeyev at the left point, and a rolling puck is going to be collected now on the left side of the ice by Cooper Jones. He slides it to his right, and it's Charlie Granath with it on his stick. Now the veteran Knoxville blue liner will slide it to his right, and Benson enters the Macon zone before being checked into the half wall by Oleg Kalaman. Now it's scooped up by Pirog, flung ahead for Stepan Timofeyev, who races down the right side, trailed closely by Pirog. Timofeyev will dump it into the right corner. Danny Perez went fighting for it, but the Ice Bears have cleared it as far as the red line, where it's slapped back in by Zach Urban. Perez is first to it. He will fire it wide of the goal from a tough angle, and it missed the glove side post of Hayden Stewart. Now from the far corner, it's Pierre Ouellet, who is dispossessed of it by Danny Perez. Perez fighting for it at the bottom of the right circle with help from Josh Cousineau, the SPHL veteran. Right point, slap shot, stopped by Stewart, rebound in the crease and cleared up to Cottrell, and the Ice Bears have gotten it out for now. Slap shot coming off the stick of Ryan Devine, wearing the number 4 tonight. Danny Caesar slicing through neutral territory, feeds it up to Caleb Cameron. The return pass is outside of Caesar's wheelhouse, and it's delivered behind the goal line now by Carlson. Alex Carlson advancing it as far as Stefan Bricado, who flings it rink wide, and it's Lucas Bombardier playing in his first game of the season tonight for Knoxville. Just came off the IR this afternoon. Jimmy Soper from the near corner will advance it up the adjacent half wall. Caleb Cameron throws a huge check into the half wall against the SPHL veteran Jason Price. Jarrett Cupp settles things down behind his own net, exits to his right, and now it's Jimmy Soper. He's stymied in the neutral zone by Garrett Sargis, also playing his first game of the season. Sargis takes it into the right half wall area in the Macon zone. Jarrett Cupp whacked it off his blade, but it's held in the zone by Cooper Jones. His shot is blocked. Ryan Devine clears it off the glass out into the neutral zone. Marcus Ortiz putting the pressure on Anthony McVeigh. Now it's Ortiz. His pass was picked off, never reached Pirog. Jarrett Cupp reorganizes. Cupp to Smith. Larry Smith up to Stephen Pirog. He tries to squeeze by McVeigh, but he lost the puck in the process. Cooper Jones goes D to D. Charlie Granath pumps one into the deep slot in the Macon zone. Larry Smith got his stick in the way, broke the pass up, and now it's flung back in on net from the Mayhem logo at center ice. Calmed down by Entma, who will leave it to his left, and racing out of his own zone, Ben Campbell, another former Ice Bear. The puck pops out of play, going off the stick of Jacob Benson. Campbell, one of 5 players on Macon's roster with experience playing for the Knoxville Ice Bears. He is joined by the likes of Danny Caesar, Marcus Ortiz, Cody Porter, and Josh Cousineau, who won a President's Cup there back in 2015. He was teammates at the time with Jason Price, who's now on the Ice Bears again. To say that Price is an SPHL veteran would be an understatement. Number 13 for Knoxville is in his 12th SPHL season. 34 years of age. The puck is collected on the near side of the ice by Caleb Cameron. His clearing attempt ends up squeaking by Pirog and out into Knoxville territory. It's gathered there and bounced back out into the neutral zone. Bryce Nielsen in across the blue line. Marley Quince on his right, receives the pass, slides it over, left circle shot, fought off by the shoulder of Entma. Not sure of its whereabouts, and the puck is safely out of trouble and out into the neutral zone. Here's Bryce Nielsen entering Macon territory. Was met by a swarm of Mayhem, and Danny Caesar will just drop it off. Oleg Kalaman begins the breakout for Macon. His pass is intercepted. Here's Bombardier commencing the counterattack. He'll wrist it, and it's stopped by Kevin Entma. Entma was square to the shot, receives a round of applause from this crowd. Yeah, a lot of disadvantages for the Mayhem coming into this game, and from a promotional side of things, remember this game was rescheduled from earlier, late notice. We only had a couple of weeks to inform our fans about this game. Originally, the game was scheduled for March 6th, and that date changed. And the game was moved to this weekend. And not only that, but it's pouring down rain outside, and we've had some ice issues, so a lot of things going wrong, but the show must go on, as they say. Oleg Kalaman's clearing attempt is held in the zone by Ricky Kramer. Now it's Scott Cottrell from the right corner. He will reverse it back up the wall, and the return pass never reaches him as Urban is there to intercept it, pinned to the boards by Lucas Bombardier. It goes off his skate. Bombardier picks his pocket, then centers it. Cottrell with a shot. Blocker save. Entma. Huge stop by the Macon goaltender. And with 4.5 minutes having gone by, the Mayhem will clear this puck out. Oleg Kalaman clears it out to the opposing blue line, and Kramer just kicks it to his left. Bryce Nielsen advances it off of Bombardier's stick. Jarrett Cupp is there. Cupp is pickpocketed, and the centering pass goes off a Macon skate, and Cupp will get a second chance. And he'll race it in front of the benches, try to shovel it into the Knoxville zone. It goes off a glove of Charlie Granath, and back with it skates Brady Florent, who stops in the circle, loses the puck. And Ortiz will just drop it behind his own net. Ryan Devine slides it across. Jarrett Cupp angles it to Caleb Cameron. He will slide one past Granath and go in after it himself near the Ortho Georgia dasherboard. Gets some help on his right. A 4-man scrum. Now it looks like it's developing into a 5- or 6-man battle for the puck. Knoxville is victorious. They had the advantage in numbers. It's been hoisted out by Brady Florent. It lands near the red line in the neutral zone. Whacked down by Jarrett Cupp. The Mayhem changing personnel. The Ice Bears doing the same. 14:24 to go here in period 1. Scoreless at the Macon Centreplex. No icing here. Ben Campbell retreats to play the puck as he shovels it around to the far half wall. Timofeyev couldn't redirect it to Pirog the way he wanted to. Knoxville taking over. They cough up possession. Here comes Timofeyev. Will shovel a pass out to Pirog on the right wing. Pirog centers it, and it's speared away out of play. And we get a whistle stopping play. That flying puck's been brought to you by Blues Painting and Home Repair. We're nearly 6 minutes into this first period. Still no score at the Macon Centreplex. Kevin Entma coming up big with a couple of big saves, and including a blocker stop from point-blank range.
Mayhem would be happy to help you out through our fundraiser program, available for all home games throughout the season. You buy tickets from us for $10 each, you sell them for $15, and you keep the remaining $5 per ticket sold for whichever cause your heart desires. If you were to sell 50 tickets, for example, you would collect $250 for your fundraiser. Call our office at 478-803-1592 for more information. The beloved Family 4-Pack is back. The Mayhem are offering this incredibly affordable package for several games throughout the season. For just $50, you receive 4 tickets and a $30 gift card to Texas Roadhouse at 5080 Riverside Drive right here in Macon. The dates for these 4-pack nights will be announced on social media as they become finalized, So be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube for all the most up-to-date content.
All right, so Stephen Pirog sets up to take an offensive zone draw to the left of Hayden Stewart. He wins it, but Knoxville gets right on it after the faceoff, and Timofeyev begins to force the issue in below the goal line. He wipes out, and Jason Lordy keeps his arm down. Play will resume here. Timofeyev attempts a sharp angle bid right into the glove of Hayden Stewart. Stewart, a graduate of Cornell University. He backed up the Ice Bears during the playoffs last season, played the Mayhem well in back-to-back games, had a 10-game timeshare in the ECHL last season between Cincinnati, Orlando, and Fort Wayne. Former Corpus Christi Ice Ray back in the day with the North American Hockey League. Alex Carlson, his clearing attempt goes off the stick of Timofeyev, who's really just been, for lack of a better term, a nuisance for the Ice Bears in the offensive zone. He's been excellent forechecking. Ben Campbell has a blowout. Here's an opportunity for Knoxville. The stuff attempt by Jacob Benson is denied by Entma. Excellent save. He bails out the former Ice Bears blue liner with a huge lateral pad stop. Benson was virtually in alone, uncontested after that wipeout by Ben Campbell in the Mayhem slot. And unfortunately for him, it did not cost his team. Kevin Entma coming up big with his left pad. Josh Cousineau will take the face-off to Entma's left. Cottrell beats Cousineau on the draw. It's centered by Bricado, whacked aside and shoveled around the boards by Oleg Kalaman. Long point shot, redirects into the far corner. Bombardier tapped in behind the net. It's played by Stefan Bricado, whose attempted centering pass goes off a stick straight out of play. Knoxville pointing out, saying that the Mayhem cleared this, trying to petition for a penalty, a delay of game penalty called against Macon. Right now the officials are conferring. Knoxville seemed very convinced that it will be a penalty against Macon. It appears that will be the case. Danny Caesar goes to the box. Former Ice Bear will have a seat. Knoxville going to the power play for the first time tonight. Ice Bears power play coming into this game, converting at 12.5%, good for 6th best in the SPHL. This season we've seen a huge drop, I suppose, in power play percentage, or you could call it an uptick in penalty kill percentage, whatever you want to call it. If you're a glass is half full kind of person, then we'll say the teams have been better on the PK so far this season. Although the sample size is obviously very early, just 8 games being played so far. Caesars is in the box for delay of game, I beg your pardon. So the Mayhem will be going to the J&J's Heating and Air Conditioning penalty kill for the first time tonight. An excellent keep at the blue line from the right point by Marley Quince with his glove. Marley Quince gets the return pass from Jacob Benson. From the far corner, it's Bryce Nielsen. Scooting up the far half wall with it. Outer hash marks to the left circle. Nielsen centers it. Benson is pickpocketed, and here comes Sean Lynch. Back the other direction. Lynch is heavily outnumbered and surrounded by white sweaters. He decided to just dump it into the Knoxville zone. The Ice Bears reorganize as Scott Cottrell wheels out from behind his own goal line with it. Deals it to his right. Now here comes Marley Quince. Tripped up a bit as he entered the Macon zone. Benson held it at the line. The side of the net pass was perhaps one too many, but the puck is salvaged by Ricky Kramer at the point. Given to Benson, flung rink wide, tapped back at the goal. Good redirect by McVeigh. Second opportunity, Entma comes up huge on Quince. The SPHL's leading point scorer is denied by Kevin Entma, who has been brilliant in his return. Puck drops, and Cameron is bested on the draw just barely by Anthony McVeigh. It's given to Stefan Bricado, who sends it off the pad. They score on the rebound as McVeigh right on the doorstep, just fired at the net pretty softly by Bricado. Smart play by number 11 in white, who didn't whip it at the net. He just sort of almost passed it off of Entma's pads right to Anthony McVeigh, and it's a power play goal for Knoxville. They lead 1-0. Macon facing an early deficit. We're less than halfway through the first period. The Ice Bears leading 1-0. 11:53 to go in the first period. Stephen Pirog will take the ensuing draw. It's unfortunate for Kevin Entma given how well he had played to start this game, and that goal, just nothing he could do about it. One could argue, I suppose, the rebound control, but you know, I'm telling you folks, that was just a very well-placed, I'll call it a pass. I won't even call it a shot because Stefan Bricado passed it off of Entma's right pad right to Anthony McVeigh, who was just allowed to get way too close to the Macon netminder. Nobody really clearing the crease, and McVeigh was just in the right spot when that rebound ricocheted off the right pad of Entma. 1-0 Knoxville. 8 minutes and 7 seconds have expired. I suppose that was an errant puck drop, so they'll try this again. Neutral face-off eventually taken by Pirog. Slid back to Campbell, given on to Smith. Rink-wide pass to Timofeyev, who dumps it in on goal from center ice, and Hayden Stewart will just cover it up with his glove. Mayhem will go to an offensive zone face-off with their top line, which started tonight's game, out there to take the draw. Stepan Timofeyev lines up right behind Pirog above the right circle. Pirog attempting to set him up for a one-timer. It didn't work out. And it's scooped up now by Bricado, who has cleared it out into the neutral zone. Bombardier can't quite settle it down. It looked like he was on a delayed offside. Not the case. But the point is moot. Here comes Timofeyev the other way. He's steered into the corner on the far side and driven wide by Pierre Ouellet. Here's Alex Carlson. Carlson feeds a diagonal pass up through the neutral zone. It's picked off by a back-checking Pirog, who turns back into the Knoxville end. He dangles his way into the left corner with it and sends it off the stick of Stewart. Here's Cup wristing it. He scores! Stepan Timofeyev redirected the puck from Jarrett Cup, and he has just scored his first goal with the Mayhem. That is going to be Timofeyev's first goal with the Mayhem, assisted by Jarrett Cup and Stephen Pirog. Pirog from the left corner just sort of shoveled it off the goaltender Hayden Stewart's stick, and the puck bounced right back to the slot. Jarrett Cup wristed it, and Timofeyev redirected it past Hayden Stewart, and that's the underwear goal, folks. Whitey tighties, gloves, socks, scarves, all being thrown onto the ice right now by the folks here at the Macon Centreplex. Remember, everything that's being thrown onto the ice is being donated to local charity. Daybreak, the DePaul Project, is the foundation for which this Whitey Tighty Toss benefits. Ultimately, it'll serve some of the less fortunate folks in the Macon area some good. With all these products benefiting the Project DePaul, a charity that provides assistance to local homeless and less fortunate, being cleaned off the ice in timely fashion right now by Mayhem staff and volunteers. So Stepan Timofeyev scoring the underwear goal. Not a bad one for his first goal with the Mayhem. Last season, the teddy bear toss was launched after the goal was scored by Mike Cimello, who was somebody who a very sort of last-minute cut. He was the last player from training camp this season who was cut from the roster. And Stepan Timofeyev, somebody else who was sort of on the bubble coming into training camp this year. With his skill and his work ethic, he was able to crack the roster. So the right call being made. Stephen Pirog, Jarrett Cup assisting on Stepan Timofeyev's first goal with the Mayhem. One of the areas in which it helps to have color analyst folks on the broadcast is for deflections like that, because typically analysts are former players. Their eyes are usually pretty quick on deflections. One of the fellas who was helping out with the underwear cleanup crew just had a little wipeout in the far corner in the Knoxville zone. He got a little sort of sarcastic round of applause from the audience. But anyways, that one, oftentimes deflections are tough to see, especially for a play-by-play commentator who's so focused on calling what's going on. But that one was obvious, not only by the way the puck changed direction and fooled a very strong goaltender in Hayden Stewart, but also by the fact that just by how Stepan Timofeyev celebrated, it was very obvious that that was his goal. So congratulations to Stepan, his first goal with the Mayhem, a goal he'll remember forever as the one which launched the whitey-tighty toss that will benefit so many less fortunate folks in the Macon community. Here comes Lucas Bombardier down the right side. By the way, shout out to the cleanup crew. They did an excellent job of getting that cleaned up in very timely fashion. We're already back underway just a couple of minutes later. Bombardier in across the Macon line, able to squeeze by Devine, but Devine shoved him down to the ice after the fact. Here comes Caesar right down Main Street, puts it over the blue line onside. Cousineau's pass just behind Perez, and it's battled for in the corner on the near side of the Knoxville zone. Cottrell outlets it up the middle, and here comes Knoxville the other way. Ricky Kramer slams on the brakes and rifles it wide of the blocker side of Entma. Caesar puts it behind the net off the back of it at Kareem's. Cup will chisel it back to Caesar, whose pass misses everything in sight. No icing. Hayden Stewart will make a play on it. The Knoxville netminder leaves it. Cooper Jones banks it off the backboards. Charlie Granoff up the middle, and it eventually fools Brady Florent. It went between his stick and his skates. Marcus Ortiz down his off wing, drives to the net. Can't stuff it in. Hayden Stewart had the post covered well. Good body check delivered by Caleb Cameron into the half wall. He fends off a check. Cameron steps out with it from the circle. Had his shot go off the side of the net. And now it's Ortiz. He's got it. Ortiz flings it through the crease. Bounces off the boards out to Urban, who fires it, just missing the stick of Ortiz, who nearly had a redirect. Puck trickles by the blue line. Kalaman is caught. A foot races on. Florent tries to drop it back to the late man. Excellent defense by Zach Urban. He broke up the 2-on-1 rush. Here comes Urban on the counterattack. Enters the zone. He delays. He leaves it off. Here comes Timofeyev, the most recent goal scorer. He tries to slip one through. Lots of white sweaters in the area. Soper's got it. Near corner. Leaves it to Pirog. The Macon captain, Stephen Pirog, reverses it down the half wall. It's Soper again. Left off for Timofeyev. He steps into the middle, dangles, loses the puck, and it's steered aside by Hayden Stewart. But the puck is kept alive at the point by Larry Smith, whose shot nearly was redirected by Timofeyev. It missed his stick. The Ice Bears have fizzled out the attack for the time being. Smith put it over the blue line. The Mayhem are offside, and the whistle blows. We get a stoppage in play with 8:36 to go in the first period. 1-1 your score. This crowd is alive and well here at the Macon Centreplex after that last goal scored by Stepan Timofeyev, which launched the whitey-tighty toss. His first goal with the Macon Mayhem, and what a goal it was. Neutral zone draw in front of the All-State Bonding penalty box. Faceoff is won by Macon. Ben Campbell from in front of the Knoxville bench shovels it into Ice Bears territory. Ricky Kramer sends it around the boards. Good keep. Campbell's got it right point. Long shot tipped over the net by Sumalides. And Nielsen is able to chip one out into the neutral zone. Marley Quintz hung up now on Larry Smith. Timofeyev bounces one out in front of the Macon bench. Campbell recovers it. Two Ice Bears in hard on the forecheck. You see why the games with Knoxville are such high scoring, folks. They really commit a lot of bodies forward on the attack. Hayden Stewart came out of his net to play a loose puck aside. Nearly danger for him as Pirog was nearby, but couldn't make the Knoxville netminder pay. With it behind his own net now is Jacob Benson. Leaves it for Jason Price. 12th SPHL season. Won a President's Cup with Knoxville back in 2015. Nielsen down the right side. Shoots. Shoulder save Entma. Big rebound. They score. It's Marley Quintz finding the loose puck right on the doorstep again in the blue paint. Entma made a Bit of an awkward-looking shoulder save, and the puck just sort of landed right on top of his crease. Marley Quince with a good nose for the net. Now he's got 8 goals in as many games. And the rookie out of Clarkson University has just regained Knoxville's lead. It's 2-1 Ice Bears. 7:32 yet to be played here in the first period. That was a job well done of Knoxville in quelling this Macon momentum. Good bank pass off the board. Caesar's backhander is fought off by Hayden Stewart. Smart play by Zach Urban, nearly connected with a fellow veteran and Danny Caesar there, almost Sedin-like on that play. The music is still going. Charlie Granath sends it up the middle, and it's Anthony McVeigh. Coughs it up. Urban is hauled down. He was tripped, nothing called, and Knoxville might be able to capitalize. Offside, however, is called against the Ice Bears. Marley Quince being credited with his 8th goal on the season moments ago, cleaning up a rebound right on the doorstep of Kevin Etma. Anthony McVeigh's goal came in similar fashion, though that one was on a power play, and that one bounced off of his pad, not his shoulder. So it's dumped back into Macon territory by Stefan Mercado, who assisted on Knoxville's first goal. Kept alive at the right point. Alex Carlson sends it down the adjacent half wall. Centered. Cottrell shoots and scores. Goes off the crossbar and in. Scott Cottrell, with his 4th goal on the season, has given Knoxville its first insurance lead of the night. And what a response by the Ice Bears after Macon managed to tie this game back up. They were surging for a little while right after the goal, and Knoxville just came right back and absolutely silenced this house. 2 goals in a very short period of time, and the Ice Bears hold a 3-1 advantage. Kevin Etma reverses it behind his own net, around DeMarcus Ortiz, and it's delivered back in behind the Macon cage. Ben Campbell's got it. He floats it too far in front of Ortiz. Looked like the Mayhem should have been offside, but Knoxville played it first, so play is able to continue. Soper had it bounce over his stick, and the Ice Bears are out to center with it. It slides over Stefan Mercado's stick. Ben Campbell gives it to Larry Smith. Campbell gets it back. Smith from his own zone. Angles it off the boards. Nice bank pass. Sumalitas down his off wing driving. Has it on his backhand. He's hit into the end wall. Sumalitas still with it on his stick. Twists and turns and looks for some openings to develop. He finds Devine, whose shot is redirected on goal by Larry Smith, who looks for a loose puck. Can't find one. Stewart with an excellent save. Good vision by Ryan Devine from the blue line, who let his shot go through traffic. Larry Smith, who doesn't often creep that far into the attacking zone. He's usually not that deep into offensive territory, but he saw an opportunity to take some open ground, and got to commend him for taking advantage of it. Larry Smith giving the Mayhem a good opportunity to draw to within a goal. Stephen Pirog to take the face-off. He's going to be countered by Jacob Benson of Knoxville. And the Ice Bears have control of this as Marley Quince will just advance it down the sideboards. Puck ends up in the Macon bench. Marley Quince played 4 seasons at the Division I level. Coming into this game, 11 points in 7 games. He's now got 12 and 8. Currently leads the entire SPHL in scoring. Going to be a face-off in front of the Macon bench now. It's going to be between Pirog and Benson again. The puck drops. Pirog wins the draw. And it's Timofeyev in his own zone. He will circle back behind his net. Timofeyev fakes left, goes right, bounces one out over Stephen Pirog's stick. Lucas Bombardier shovels it back into Macon territory. It's Ryan Devine with it. He slides it to Timofeyev, who will shovel it off of the linesman in front of the Macon bench. Timofeyev overskates it. Bombardier will rattle it back in. It bounces into the right corner area where it's whacked down and below the goal line. Scott Cottrell's got it. He turns on a dime. Check that, Marley Quince. He takes a spill. The Mayhem trying to capitalize on that unorthodox trip. Sumalitas tries to slip one through the slot. It's backhanded wide of the goal by Stephen Pirog, so a disappointing counterattack from the Mayhem after that slip up by Marley Quince. Pirog unable to slither by Cooper Jones, who hip checked him into the boards upon that zone entry. Pirog will skate back to the Macon bench, and Knoxville is in control now. Anthony McVeigh will chip it off the boards and down into the Macon zone. That'll be an icing called against the Ice Bears. Fortunately for them, we should be going to immediate timeout. That is the case. 4:36 to go in period one. 3-1 your score in favor of Knoxville, who will get a chance to catch a breather after icing the puck just moments ago. That icing call has been brought to you by Tropical Smoothie Cafe. Again, 3-1 your score, folks, here in Macon. We'll be back in just a moment.
You know our players are stars on the ice, but what about off the ice? Want an opportunity to hang out with the Mayhem and to get to know their personalities better? Come out to Line Change, a Mayhem talk show featuring head coach Leo Thomas, as well as 2 player guests. Now in its second season, Line Change runs from 6 to 6:30 p.m. every Tuesday night on the Creek stage at the Rookery at 543 Cherry Street in downtown Macon. You can get exclusive news on the team, ask any question you like to the players and the coach, and enjoy some delicious handcrafted Macon food in the process. Swing by the Rookery this Tuesday night at 6 p.m. We'd love to see you there.
With Veterans Day having just passed, of course, the Mayhem would, as always, like to extend a healthy stick tap in the direction of those who have served and continue to serve our great country. For those of you who would like to potentially support a local hero or a veteran, go onto the Mayhem website, MaconMayhem.com, and nominate him as our Blues Painting and Home Repair Hero of the Game. Under the Community tab is where you will find the Hero of the Game form to submit. Just give us a reason why your nominee deserves to be recognized as our hero of the game. Puck is banked out in front of the Macon bench. Danny Caesar will go back into his own zone to pick up speed. He then cuts around one, dips around a second, fires it towards the net, but the third man in his path blocked it. It was Pierre Ouellette. And Perez will chisel it into Knoxville territory. Looks like he might have missed it. Icing is called. Some pushes and shoves going on behind the Knoxville bench, or rather the Knoxville net, I beg your pardon. Alex Carlson was involved in that scuffle. Danny Caesar is as well. Now some reinforcements arriving from both sides. Rest my case, folks. It's something about that side of the ice. Last weekend, anytime something happened, it was on that side. And it was right around probably a 5-foot radius of the net, of the crease. Guys just seem to get a little more hot-headed for whatever reason on that end. 4:03 to go in the first. 3-1 Ice Bears. This is a team the Mayhem were a respectable 5-1-1 against last season. But by the same token, they were the team that eliminated the Mayhem in the postseason last April. So some bitter memories among the fan base here in this building tonight. Hoping for a symbolic revenge of sorts, with now 5 players on Macon's roster serving as former Ice Bears. Josh Kuzno, one of them, wins the faceoff in the defensive zone. Out with it skates Danny Perez, who floats one ahead, hoping for Caesar. It goes on net. Hayden Stewart with the save. Caesar, a Redford, Michigan native, spent his first 4 years pro with Knoxville before being traded to the Quad City Storm last year. Did not report to the Illinois-Iowa border or even play a game before being traded to Macon. He was our other guest, our other player guest on Line Change this past week, so you'll hear from him intermittently throughout the game as well. Soper forces a turnover, and he sends it to Ortiz. It bounces off his stick. Knoxville recovers. They outlet it ahead. Bricado redirects it into Macon territory, into the right corner. Larry Smith going after it. It's taken first by Ben Campbell and punched around towards Cameron. He's just shoveled it over the head of Marcus Ortiz. Macon's leading goal scorer this season with 4. Entma has it behind his net. He will feed Larry Smith. Smith up to Campbell. Ben Campbell slaps it up the left boards, and Caleb Cameron redirects it into the offensive zone. Hayden Stewart steers it aside, and it's Nielsen chipping it across his own blue line. Marley Quince is able to squeeze past Devine. He is ridden into the corner boards by Devine. Nielsen slips it back to the line. Long left point shot is off target. Looks like it might have gone off of a Knoxville stick. Now it's Nielsen turning it at the net, and a stick save is made by Entma. Now it's Pirog advancing it up to Ortiz, who will just whack it out past the blue line. Jarrett Cupp will feed Sean Lynch in front of the benches. Timofeyev punches it through, goes into the right corner, fighting for it. He escapes with it, stops behind the net. Timofeyev looking for somewhere to go with it. He will kick it to his right. Stephen Pirog will reverse it to the line. Cupp with a long shot, just off the mark. Sean Lynch forces a turnover. He centers, and it's bobbled by Pirog right in the slot. Rescued, given back to Cupp. His shot doesn't get all the way through. Stephen Pirog will drop it. Timofeyev's got it. He will trickle it back to the right point. Jarrett Cupp sustains a check, goes down. The Ice Bears have cleared it. It's one of the issues with having only one right-handed shooting defenseman, folks, is keeping the puck alive at the right point in particular is going to be difficult for the likes of Jarrett Cupp, Ben Campbell, and others playing on their off-handed side tonight. Danny Perez from the left corner sends it in behind the net. Danny Caesar's got it. Nice little surge by the Mayhem the past couple of minutes. Caesar is cross-checked into the boards. Penalty box door open momentarily there after Oleg Kalaman crashed into it. Here's a centering pass, backhand shot, they score. It was Anthony McVeigh putting it in front, and the backhand shot, could not identify who that was, but it trickled right through the pads of Entma. Looks like that was Bryce Nielsen, if I'm not mistaken. Brady Florent, perhaps. It was the latter of the two, Florent with the goal. It was set up again by Anthony McVeigh, Stefan Bricado, who've both got a pair of points tonight. And all of a sudden, Knoxville's got the makings of a blowout on their hands. It's 4-1 in favor of the visitors. Campbell will slide it to Larry Smith now in his own zone. Smith goes up to Cameron through the middle. From the Mayhem logo at center ice, he will fly it into the Knoxville zone. Now it's Jason Price. He rims one around, and Lucas Bombardier, he pops it up through midair. It lands off the glove of Ricky Kramer down onto the ice. Bombardier stepping into the left circle's got it. He shoots. Entma the glove save, and he hangs on to it. And it gets pretty heated in the crease. Finally, it's on the other side of the ice. Caleb Cameron's got a dance partner down there who he believed was getting too close to his goaltender, Kevin Entma. Kevin Entma's got a longtime teammate of his on the other side tonight. I have not seen his name yet. He may not have dressed, but Brian Batchnock was an Adrian College graduate. He played all 4 of his college years there with Kevin Entma. Batchnock was formerly with the NAHL's Austin Bruins, so he's really worn some shade of gold essentially his entire career, now with Knoxville as well. Timofeyev bats the puck down out of midair, no high stick. Stephen Pirog on the counterattack, swivels into the left circle. He gets knocked off balance, and his shot, as a result, didn't have much mustard on it. And here come the Ice Bears the other way, and it's Marley Quintz gaining the zone. Bryce Nielsen on the return. Quintz tapped it wide of the right post, and Quintz is absolutely flattened by Ryan Devine. He was trying to go at it with him. Quintz just skating away, wants nothing to do with it. He's the top scorer in the SPHL, does not want to really necessarily drop the gloves, especially with his team up by 3 goals. Danny Perez runs out of time. 5 goals through the first 20 minutes. 4 of them belong to the Ice Bears. A rough period for the Mayhem, who really had a huge goal to spark the underwear toss from Stepan Timofeyev to draw the score even. From that point on, it was all Ice Bears. There was a good surge of momentum after Timofeyev's goal, but the Mayhem could not build on it. They could not develop a lead. Instead, it was the Ice Bears who very quickly just snuffed out Macon's momentum and scored in bunches. A pair of goals within a very short period of time, back-to-back, coming off of Knoxville sticks. Marley Quince got one of them, Anthony McVeigh got the other, and Brady Florent got the last one. So our public address announcer tonight, John Reagan, just reminding everybody what the cause was for, the underwear toss. Once more, folks, those all benefit local charity. Daybreak, the DePaul project, will benefit from all those underwear, socks, scarves, and gloves that were thrown onto the ice following Stepan Timofeyev's first goal with the Mayhem. So the goals scored by Marley Quince and Scott Cottrell came exactly 48 seconds apart. So just a huge momentum shift for the Ice Bears, which is not tilted back into Macon's favor. Though there was a brief period of time towards the end of the period, it looked as though Macon was beginning to claw their way back into it. But again, Knoxville nipped it in the bud. As soon as the Mayhem began to seemingly bring themselves back into the game, they had sustained offensive zone time, but Knoxville countered with a sort of an odd man rush, and in transition, Brady Florent just tucked the puck through the 5-hole of Kevin Entman, and it trickled over the goal line and into the net. And for Florent, that was his second goal with the Ice Bears, and that's what they can do to you, folks. This is the highest scoring team in the league for a reason. They've got excellent top-end speed. We talked at the onset of this broadcast about how this is likely going to be a high-scoring game. So far, that has proven to be true. Already, through just one period, Knoxville putting up 4 on the Mayhem. That's already more than the Mayhem average against per game coming into this tilt. The Mayhem averaging 2 goals 4 per game. Knoxville struggling a bit in that department, so that could be a chink in their armor, which the Mayhem could potentially exploit, but they've got a lot of work to do now, trailing by 3, heading into period 2. Like we said, folks, we want you to get a chance to hear from Mayhem forwards Stepan Timofeyev and Danny Caesar, both of whom were guests at our last episode of Line Change with Coach Thomas. Again, Line Change, the Macon Mayhem Coaches Show, which airs every Tuesday night on the Creek Stage at the Rookery in downtown Macon from 6 to 6:30 p.m. And in case you missed it, folks, we'll play back our last episode, episode 4 of season 2 of Line Change with guests Stepan Timofeyev and Danny Caesar. That's coming your way next, folks, on the Mayhem Broadcast Network. Till then, don't go anywhere. We'll be back before you know it.
Okay, guys, I think we're going to get started now. As always, thanks so much for being here for our 4th episode of Season 2 of Line Change with Coach Thomas. I know there's a lot going on. It's freezing cold outside, and there's club meeting and everything like that, so we really appreciate you being here. First thing I want to do is introduce our player guests tonight. We've got Stepan Timofeyev and Danny Caesar. Let's hear a round of applause for these two guys. Both of them had a very good weekend, I'd say, in very different ways against the Peoria Rivermen, and we'll talk about all that pretty soon. First thing I'm going to do is ask Coach Thomas a few questions, and then we'll ask these two gentlemen a few questions as well. And then for my favorite part of the show, we're going to open the floor up for discussion. You guys can ask any question your heart desires, so go ahead and start brainstorming whatever you want to ask these three gentlemen up here. And then we're going to wrap the show up by sort of previewing the upcoming weekend we have coming up on Friday and Saturday night. So, Coach, we're done with Peoria now, finally, at least until January. 4 straight games against those guys. That's a Herculean task for any team in this league to face. How much of a learning experience is it to go through a series like that so early on into the season?
Yeah, I think it's a good thing it's happening this earlier in the season than compared to last year. Mm-hmm. I think it's good for younger guys like Timo and, some other guys that in our league to kind of play that team and kind of see what it takes to, to beat one of the top teams in our league and what it takes to win in this league in general. So, wasn't the results obviously we wanted, but I did definitely see a lot of positive stuff in those 4 games for sure. We definitely showed we can compete with those guys, and you just can't take periods off, or even if you take 10 minutes off in a game against those guys, it can make you it can make it real difficult on you. And like I said, hopefully for the young guys and for our whole team in general, we learn from it.
Yeah, and that's how it felt. Really, all weekend there were just surges of momentum, extreme surges of momentum in both teams' favor at times. How did you think the team responded on Saturday to a record-setting game in the penalty minutes department on Friday night?
I thought it was perfect. I mean, we outshot them 20-4, I think, or something like that. And
first period. Yeah.
We were hungry. We showed the kind of team we were capable of, and just couldn't get it done. And that goes back to taking off a period or so. You just can't do that. And I thought we had a great first, and then came back in the second, and I think we had three hits that period, which you can't do that. I mean, we had 16 in the first, and then we come back and we have 3 in the second. So It's just all about continuing that pace and that energy that we showed in the first, and we would have been fine.
So, Danny, I want to ask the next question I have to you. You had a really big weekend on the score sheet. You got your first goal of the season, got another one on Saturday night, and you drove a lot of scoring opportunities as well. Do you feel that things starting to click better now that the season's a few weeks old?
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, we got a lot of guys gelling together. We're doing a lot of line stuff in practice, just trying to get a feel for each other and how the offense is going to go this season. So for me, being a player in this league that's always put up points, it was kind of rough the first 2 weeks. I went through a little bit of adversity, and I felt like instead of trying to be more offensive, I'd just sit back and play more of a defensive game to try and help the team out. Mm-hmm. Going into that Peoria weekend at home, I felt a million times better mentally and physically, and I had a lot more energy. I was excited. I was ready to help the team on offense again, and I felt like I created a lot of opportunity to help the team do that. We finally scored a goal on those guys, so it felt pretty good. But honestly, whether I score another goal the rest of the year or not, all I really care about is the points that get us ahead in the standings. So I just really hope we start making a run here and move ourselves up the chain.
Definitely. And Danny, you told me shortly after you arrived in Macon late last season that when you were with Knoxville, this was the one team you always hated playing against. Why is that, and how does it feel now being a part of it, about to face off against your former squad in Knoxville this weekend?
Well, once again, Macon has a really good team this year. Honestly, in the standings, it's not really showing what we're capable of. I've always hated to play this team because they've always had great coaching, and the players just seem to follow through. Whether it's a run-and-gun game, whether it's an all-out war on the ice, in the creases, in the corners, behind the net, wherever it is that the game's being played, like this team always brings it, and I feel like we can definitely do that, and we proved that in the first period of that second game, and I just feel like, if we could just continue to play the same way for a full 60 minutes, we'd be 8-0 right now. So definitely this week of practice has been a lot different. It feels a lot different. Players are responding a lot better than maybe before this weekend happened. Or I feel like guys are starting to understand it's not always going to be a fun game. Sometimes you just have to play a game that's completely boring, pushing pucks up the wall, getting it behind the D, taking the body, hitting pin. Simple things, simple games are what win championships. So I think now that everyone's kind of seen that, the more simple we play and the harder and more effort we put into it, I feel like we're going to start winning a lot more games. So.
Yeah, without a doubt. And those 20 minutes that you guys put forward on Saturday against Peoria was probably the best period of hockey that I've seen played here in Macon since I've been here. Out shooting a team like that 20-4, just not getting a goal. You've got to credit their goaltender again, Jeremy Brodeur, who just seems to have our number this year. So, Stepan, I'm going to ask this next question I have to you. You were someone that the team was very excited to sign over the offseason. You won Rookie of the Year last year in Elmira. How have you liked playing in the SPHL for the past month or so after spending the better part of the past 2 years in the Federal League?
Well, I'm just starting to playing, to be honest with you, getting my confidence. Everything is new for me. I'm trying to prove coach that I can play, but sometimes he come to me and said, you don't need to just do your thing.
Mm-hmm.
Preseason games I was shaking before the game, taking it too serious. But it's faster. Guys more prepared for stronger. We can say that.
Mm-hmm.
Harder to get points. Faster hockey, more physical. It's pretty good so far. Learning a lot of stuff.
And speaking of physical, I need to ask you about that scrap on Friday. You really went at it with Peoria goaltender Eric Levine. That's an understatement. But shortly before he shoved you in the crease with his blocker, you had been slashed and hit into the boards by Jacob Reichert probably 30 seconds earlier. There was no penalty called. Did that play any part in why you were so quick to go after Eric Levine, or was it just because of the way he shoved you in the crease there?
Well, yeah, maybe a little bit. It was part of everything. This happens.
Yeah.
Being rude.
Well, it's hard to blame you. It's easy to see why you were frustrated in that situation, and a lot of people, I'm sure in this crowd here, want to commend you for what you did. So at this time, I'm going to open the floor up for discussion. The floor is now yours. Ask any question your heart desires. The only thing that we ask is that you please do so into the microphone here. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate it. If you guys wouldn't mind just passing it amongst yourselves before you ask the questions, we just want to make sure that we all hear your questions and it gets archived.
Mine really isn't a question. It's more of a comment, and it goes to Timo. When you cleaned that guy's clock, Levine, you definitely earned a spot on the Mayhem Wall of Fame. Good job, man.
Thank you.
So my question is for Leo. Last year it seemed like when everyone was healthy, your scratch for that night would usually be like someone you'd kind of shift into that 10th forward role, whereas this year it seems like it's more of a full roster rotation of who sits if it seems like everyone's healthy. Am I seeing that correctly? And if so, what prompted that kind of change in who sits for any individual game?
I think this year we've had more forwards kind of than we had last year. So I'm kind of right now just kind of going through the 2 or 3 guys maybe that I think are battling for a spot, like that 10th or 11th spot. So, a guy like Davidson was playing in Peoria for that second game, and felt like Lynch and the other guy, Keplinger, kind of stepped up too. So it's those 3 guys. I'll continue to juggle that way unless I have to make another roster move here soon. But just kind of going with who. It also depends on who we're playing as well. If it's a team that's a little bit more aggressive or plays a faster pace, and I probably want somebody out there that's a bit faster and gets in on forechecks and stuff like that. So.
This is for Leo. Are they going to fine Peoria or anything like that for destruction of property?
What,
Where they scratched up our
boards.
ladies' legs and everything?
this is the first time I'm hearing about it. So,
The Ann Parman dasher in front of the visiting bench is all kind of banged up.
yeah, I didn't even know about that. So I can look into that, but that's the first time I'm hearing about it.
Yeah, I don't know that it's intentional or not, but I definitely noticed it after this past weekend for sure.
Oh yeah, I had no idea.
Timo, you teach fighting lessons?
No, but if you want to, yes, I will. Might be.
Timo, is it true Russian machine won't break?
I hope so, yeah.
All right, Danny, I was asked to hear your Bobby Boucher impression.
Oh, no chance. I can't do it unless I'm just in my own world and you overhear me doing it. So maybe one day, but
Do you know about this, Coach?
I have no idea. Kind of want to hear it.
I'm sure if it ever happens again, it will be captured and put online somewhere. So
I'm gonna ask him tomorrow.
yeah, right. Oh man.
Timo, you're becoming an American citizen, right?
Yep.
Could you talk a little bit about that?
Right now I'm getting my medical exams, doing some paperwork. Hopefully soon. It's taking a long time, but I'm gonna be able to get my green card. Hopefully gonna live a happy life in the United States. Be proud American.
Okay, welcome back, folks. We hope you enjoyed that excerpt from our last episode of Line Change with Coach Thomas. Coach's show, which airs every Tuesday night at 6 p.m. at the Rookery. We hope to see you out there, as you can enjoy some delicious handcrafted Macon food. Ask Coach Thomas a few questions, get to know some of the players better, and just have a great time. Again, every Tuesday night, 543 Cherry Street in downtown Macon at the Rookery. 4-1 the score through one period of play here at the Macon Centreplex. Not the start the Mayhem we're hoping for, though they did score the whitey-tighty toss goal. That was by far the loudest and most optimistic this crowd has been in this building tonight. Stepan Timofeyev, a new sort of a Macon hero, as I'm sure some of you heard in that excerpt from Line Change. Folks love them some Timofeyev now after what he did last weekend, and his support will have only continued to grow after scoring a goal like that, a goal the Mayhem needed, and a goal that will benefit some of the less fortunate throughout the Macon community. From that point on, even though Macon got a pretty good surge of momentum after that, they couldn't capitalize, they couldn't gain a lead, and Knoxville would score 3 straight, and they now lead 4-1 heading into period 2. Let's take a look around the SPHL for our Hampton Inn and Suites out-of-town scoreboard update. Fayetteville is beaten up on the Roanoke Rail Yard Dogs. They've got a 4-0 lead, and Jesse Kolecki and company are really taking the league by storm this season. 6-0-1 through 7 games played. Only lost 1 game in overtime. They've been brilliant. A goal differential of +11, second only to Peoria. They've been good on the power play, good on the penalty kill. They've just been a much improved team all around. So Fayetteville Marksmen, a team to watch for this season. They lead 4-0 over the struggling Rail Yard Dogs. Out in Huntsville, the Quad City Storm visiting at Von Braun Arena. They lead 1-0 halfway through the first, and Peoria up 1-0 over the Evansville Thunderbolts up in southwest Indiana tonight. The Birmingham Bulls and the Pensacola Ice Flyers are off, so that wraps up your out-of-town scoreboard update presented by Hampton Inn and Suites. Again, folks, 4-1 is the score here in Macon. The Mayhem conceding 3 consecutive goals to close out period 1. Knoxville receiving strikes from Anthony McVeigh, Marley Quince, Scott Cottrell, and Brady Florent. Macon's goal coming from Stepan Timofeyev, assisted by Jarrett Cupp and Stephen Pirog. Lots of points on the board, 15 of them through the first 20 minutes of play. Lots of happy campers on the ice for people who are looking out for their stats. Except, of course, the plus-minus department, not looking great for the Mayhem. But outside of that, every single goal had 2 assists. There have been a lot of points through the first 20 minutes of play. The Mayhem with an opportunity to bounce back against a team that has struggled to keep the puck out of their net so far this season. Let's see what they can do in the middle stanza. Zach Urban receiving the puck behind his own net after Stephen Pirog won the neutral zone face-off. And Kevin Etma just spearing it in behind the Macon goal crease, and it's been cleared around the boards all the way down. This looks like it'll go far enough. Icing is the call against Macon as Cooper Jones wins the foot race. Cooper Jones, the ex-Halifax Moosehead, joined them 2 years after Nathan McKinnon and Jonathan Drouin were drafted from the Halifax program in the 2013 NHL entry draft. McKinnon went first overall. Drouin went third to the Colorado Avalanche and the Tampa Bay Lightning, respectively. Here comes Timofeyev. His pass is broken up, but he gets right back on it. Enters the zone. Sumulidis to the net. Timofeyev scores his second of the game. The Mayhem are back to within 2, just 29 seconds into the second period. That's a way to fire up the crowd. Exactly what the Mayhem wanted to start period 2. Telling you what, folks, this kid, before long, is going to be a household name in Macon. He has certainly grown on the fans here. He really made an impression on a lot of folks last weekend, and Kathy Moody said it at the line change episode last week. Not sure if you've heard it yet, but she said something along the lines of, nobody here in Macon really knew who you were until last weekend, and now everyone knows who he is. And with the way he's played so far tonight, his reputation will only grow. Danny Caesar floats one off the far half wall. In the Danny Perez vicinity, it's been cleared over the glove of Josh Cousineau. And now Jarrett Cupp's got it in front of the All-State bonding penalty box. Just sent it down the length. No icing, or rather icing is called. Caleb Cameron not happy with it. It looked like he had outraced Jason Price to the call. Not the case. For those of you who are tuned in during the intermission report heard, but Stepan Timofeyev right now in the process of becoming an American citizen. He's dealing with all the paperwork and the immigration process right now, but he hopes that before long, in his words, he will be a proud American. His English, from what I'm told, has certainly improved over the several years since he's been here. Sort of goes without saying. He did well at line change. Cameron dumps it into the offensive zone. He expressed concerns when I asked him to be on the show. He wasn't sure if his English would be good enough, and I told him, from what I've heard, Timo, you'll do just fine, and he did. The Ice Bears are caught on an offside as the whistle blows. The ensuing faceoff will be right in front of the All-State bonding penalty box. Timofeyev, a big fan of the Russian Fab Five growing up. He idolized the likes of Red Wing legends Sergei Fedorov, Slava Fetisov, Kozlov, Larionov, Konstantinov, all those Ovs. Got Cottrell from the far circle. Coughs up the puck to Jimmy Soper, who's just chipped it in front of the Knoxville bench. Back to recover it is Knoxville's Ricky Kramer, who backhands it over the Knoxville blue line, and Jason Price advances one just outside of the reach of Stefan Bricata. Larry Smith now from his own corner. He gives it off to Marcus Ortiz on his right. Ortiz down the right wing side will just float one into the opposite corner. And Kareem's off the 100.5 DX dasher board. Has been cleared out back into neutral territory Urban floats it on goal. Easy save by Hayden Stewart. Loose puck is corralled by Charlie Granoff. And the Swedish-born defenseman steps out in front of his own net with it. Here's Jason Price. Allows Benson to pass through. Long outlet pass, finds Quince behind the defense. He cuts to the backhand, loses the control of the puck. Kevin Ettman makes the save on the weak shot. And Marley Quince with an opportunity just moments ago to extend Knoxville's lead, and wouldn't that have silenced the crowd right back up. Huge stop by Kevin Ettman, potentially momentum-shifting save by the Macon goaltender. Marley Quince is the top point scorer in the SPHL, and he was just shut down on a point-blank breakaway opportunity. Jarrett Cup right up the middle. Cousineau swivels across the blue line on his backhand. Couldn't get much leverage on the shot. From the far half wall, it's Bryce Nielsen. Smacked into along the half boards. Now here's Garrett Sargis. Floats one up in the air. It's settled by Ryan Devine and pumped ahead out past Cousineau. Ryan Devine will have to play this again. He sends it out to Cousineau, who redirects it into the Knoxville zone. They're able to clear it quickly. Florent is stymied in the neutral zone by Ryan Devine. The puck's been followed up and dumped back into the Macon zone. Jarrett Cup goes up to Cousineau with it. Here's Devine now from his own zone. Clears it off a Knoxville stick. Garrett Sargis backpedals to his own blue line. And now it's Anthony McVeigh in across the line. He sets up Sargis left side. Cuts in behind the net. Sargis will angle it back to Alex Carlson, who wrists it through traffic, blocked by Sargis. Back to Carlson again, keeps it in the zone. Can't clear it past Devine with one hand on his stick, swipes it out to center. Here comes Caesar in across the blue line, had his shot blocked. Oh, and a huge body check delivered by Danny Caesar into the end wall, just laying out Pierre Willette, and that's a Harrison's body shot. Big collision delivered by Danny Caesar, the ex-Ice Bear. Scott Cottrell intercepts the pass at center ice. He turns the puck over in the neutral zone. Miscommunication between Cameron and Soper. As a result, the Ice Bears back in control. Soper with a big hit on Cottrell. It's fed back to the line. Devine feeds it. DDD. Campbell with a wrist shot. Redirected wide by Cameron. In behind the net it goes, and Cottrell's got it. He will roll it around to Lucas Bombardier. Bombardier works it up the half wall on the far side. Here comes Bombardier again. Coughs it up. Marcus Ortiz back the other way. He is offside. The whistle blows, and we get a stoppage in play. Marcus Ortiz not happy, as he believed that was a late whistle. Close call, but just barely offside. That would have been a 3-on-1 rush. 14:46 to go in the second period. Macon trailing the Ice Bears 4-2, but having scored their most recent goal just 29 seconds in to the second period. It's Stepan Timofeyev, second of the night. We've had some issues on SPHL Live, folks. It seems the stream keeps cutting in and out, so we're going to take a brief pause, see if we can't figure out what's going on. In the meantime, keep it right here. You're listening to Macon Mayhem Hockey on the Mayhem Broadcast Network. We'll be back in just a moment, folks. Don't go anywhere.
Good news, Mayhem fans. The group party package you know and love is back for the 2019-20 season. If you bring a group of 10 or more people, you receive discounted tickets at $13 a piece, reserved seating, free hats, t-shirts, or pucks for each member of your group, and an experience upgrade of your choosing. Set upgrades include the high five tunnel, bench buddies, a picture on the ice after the game, and much more. Just be sure to call our office at 478-803-1592 in advance, and we'll get you all squared away.
So we're back underway here. I think we might have gotten the problem at least taken care of for now. We apologize if the issue persists. We'll be working on it as the game continues here. There's only so much I can do at the moment, having to provide play-by-play, obviously, for the YouTube stream. So we'll just keep a close eye on it. And hopefully those of you who are on SPHL Live do not experience too many more interruptions throughout this game. We apologize for the inconvenience. Stathis Sumalitis down the right side. As Tries to center a pass for Pirog. It was broken up and cleared out to Cottrell and across the blue line on the right side. He couldn't cut his way into the slot. A good defensive play made by Zach Urban with his skate. It's Marley Quince, laid out by Kalaman. Timofeyev receives the breakout play from Sumalitis and chips it ahead for Pirog. Cooper Jones got to it first. The puck slides on Hayden Stewart's net, and he will hang on to it and draw a whistle from the linesman. 13:41 to go in period 2. Macon bringing themselves back to within a pair. A goal scored by Stepan Timofeyev just 29 seconds in to the second period. His second goal of the game. Josh Kuzno is going to take an offensive zone face-off, countered by Jacob Benson of Knoxville. Will be to the left of Hayden Stewart, won cleanly by Benson. Granath will slide it to his defensive partner, Alex Carlson. Puck's been cleared all the way down. Jarrett Cupp pursuing it. Icing is called against Knoxville. That icing call is brought to you by Tropical Smoothie Cafe. And we'll go to another offensive zone face-off. Benson against Kuzno in the right circle of the Knoxville zone. Kuzno is in his 6th SPHL season with his 3rd team. A 30-year-old veteran trying to win a pretty key face-off here. He does so. Jarrett Cupp from his off point. He's playing right point tonight due to a shortage of right-handed defensemen. Danny Perez from the corner on the far side dips his way towards the front of the net, had his sharp angle shot graze the side of the cage. And Kuzno and Caesar fighting for it near corner. Skitters back to the line for Cupp, whose long wrister gets through traffic, but Stewart is able to save it and draw another whistle. Now, there was a loose stick that was cleared all the way out towards the Knoxville bench. Didn't see what happened there, but somebody clearly lost a stick and somebody else clearly jolted it out. Just didn't see whose stick it was or who cleared it out, but it looks like it belongs to the Knoxville squad. It's being returned to their bench. Still unsure of whose that was. Caleb Cameron taking this face off. He wins it, but his pass back to the line was outside of the reach of Campbell. Ben Campbell over to Larry Smith. Campbell again, dropping it back to Smith. Floats one ahead, and it's Marcus Ortiz in across the blue line. Ortiz cuts into the left corner and puts it in behind the net around the end wall. Jimmy Soper scrapping for it. And it looks like he's going to go to the box as the referee's arm is up in the air. Tripping will be called against number 13 in blue. Knoxville having already clicked once on the power play tonight. They are 1 for 1, and Jimmy Soper to the box for tripping. Knoxville's power play coming into this game clicking at 12.5%. Sean Lynch winning a defensive zone face-off, and from the right point, it's Kramer putting it to the far corner, and Stefan Bricato's got it at the top of the right circle. His shot ricochets off a stick, bounces now to the left half wall, shoveled up the slot, and Lynch got his stick on it, was able to punch it over the blue line. Bricato for Florent down the right side, sends it in around the end wall. Puck bounces off the stick of McVeigh, back to the line it goes. It's rescued by Florent, whose shot redirects wide. Far corner, Stefan Bricato's got it. McVeigh now, ex-teammate of Sean Lynch's while at Utica College. Long slap shot from the line is off the mark. Entma holding the far post covered. And now a centering pass, bounces all the way back to the line. Cooper Jones feeds it to his right, and Bricato had it whacked off his blade by Lynch, but not out of the zone. McVeigh from the near corner, slides it up towards the point. Florent with a slap pass, side of the net, redirected on goal, stopped by Entma. Lynch can't clear it. Florent held it nicely, gives it over. Right circle, it's Bricato. Slides it back to Florent above the left circle. Mishandled it, and his shot get blocked on the way through. The Mayhem are out to center with it. Stephen Pirog motoring down the left side. He's watched closely by Benson. Dropped off for Campbell, who sailed it over the crossbar. Pirog's back on it. His shot is blocked. That's Kramer, rather. And Bombardier's got it now in his own slot as he will skate out with 20 seconds remaining on this Macon penalty kill. Offside, rather, is called against Knoxville. 10:50 to go in the second period as we're approaching the halfway point of regulation. The Mayhem trailing 4-2. 10:50 to go in the second. 17 seconds to go on the tripping penalty called against Jimmy Soper. This Mayhem penalty kill has been brought to you by J&J's Heating and Air Conditioning. The Mayhem to take a neutral zone draw near the Knoxville bench. Josh Kuzno will take the face-off again against Benson. Benson, the rookie out of St. Cloud State. Grand Forks, North Dakota native. Josh Kuzno winning the face-off. And the clearing attempt by Jarrett Cup went off a body and out of play, so the Mayhem will have to take another defensive zone draw. Cup ranked second at Curry College in his senior year 2 seasons ago in goals with 11. For 55 games last season for the Mayhem, the most ever in a single season by a Mayhem defenseman. Will attempt to shovel it out, get some help. Kuzno pursuing a rolling puck in front of the Macon bench. Urban shovels it into Knoxville territory. Back with his stick on it, Pierre Willette will send it into the Macon zone once more. Jimmy Soper has been let out of the penalty box, and the Mayhem 1 for 2 now on the PK this evening. Marley Quince is hit hard into the corner boards on the near side of the ice as a 5-player scrap ensues. Still they battle for it, and I think Jason Lordy is deciding whether or not to just blow the whistle and freeze the puck, but play eventually resumes here. Bryce Nielsen is sandwiched by Jarrett Cup. Caesar attempting to make a breakout play. Perez was hung up in the neutral zone. He's got it on his stick now. Get some reinforcements from the bench in the form of Marcus Ortiz, who wires his shot wide of the right post. The Ice Bears have just cleared it. Brian Batchnak getting it out to Lucas Bombardier, who will dump it in below the Macon goal. Marcus Ortiz receives the breakout pass at center ice. Sumalitis floats one ahead, rather that's Cameron putting it in front, and the shot is on by Soper, but denied by Hayden Stewart. Long left point shot, misses the left post. Loose puck rolling now at the bottom of the right circle, but it's scooped up by Knoxville's Cooper Jones and cleared. Botchnock goes rink wide. Bombardier with a wrist shot. He missed the net. Attempted to use Larry Smith as a screen. Bombardier's down in the far corner without his stick. Trying to draw a penalty against Larry Smith, none coming. Smith has it in his own zone now. Long breakout pass, missed everything, and an icing call is made against Macon. 8:41 to go in the second period. 4-2, Knoxville, your score. Those of you interested in coming out to tomorrow night's game, folks, the Mayhem will be hosting the Birmingham Bulls for the second time this season. The Bulls are the team against whom the Mayhem have gotten their best margin of victory this season. They beat them 4-1. Back on Saturday, October 26th. Birmingham coming in to tomorrow night's game with an opportunity for retribution, the President's Cup runners-up. Tomorrow night, of course, is Cancer Awareness Night, so we'll be honoring those who are currently battling, have battled, or have lost the battle to cancer. Mayhem will go to an offensive zone face-off in the Knoxville end. 8:41 to play in the second period. We've now crossed the halfway point of this contest. Knoxville doing a lot of damage there towards the end of the first period. Have not been able to solve that much since. Macon slowly sort of chipping away at this deficit they've found themselves in. Through 8 games this season, the Mayhem have conceded the first goal 5 times. Well, now 6 if you count tonight. And they have scored first 3 times. Oddly enough, their record is about the same in both cases, at least in terms of win percentage. Last season, when scoring the first goal, the Mayhem were virtually invincible for the first half of the year. Caleb Cameron to take the face-off against Scott Cottrell in the far circle of the Macon zone. Won by Cottrell. Bombardier, the Knoxville captain, slides it to Cottrell, who shoots, and a sliding pad save is made by Kevin Etma. Good pass there by Lucas Bombardier. Scott Cottrell was Knoxville's leading scorer last season. He had 43 points in 47 games played, 12 goals, 31 assists. He was a teammate of Ben Campbell's while at Nichols College a few years ago. A teammate of Ben Campbell's again for 2 games at the start of this season. Take an offensive zone face-off, this time to Etma's blocker side. Bears cleanly winning the offensive zone face-off. Willett floats a shot wide of the right post, and it's been shoveled out of the defensive zone by the Mayhem. Timofeyev in a foot race for it. So he takes Willett into the end wall. Stephen Pirog applying pressure on Alex Carlson. Scott Cottrell banks it out to Bricado. He's checked by Soper. Soper backpedaling to play it, rather that's Cup. We'll give it over to Devine. Timofeyev across the blue line onside. His pass was intended for Pirog, never reached him as it was intercepted by Carlson. Here comes Cottrell down the right side with a lot of room. He shoots, Etma the save. The rebound bounced over the stick of Bricado. Good back check by Cottrell to ensure his team sustained possession, but they quickly conceded it. Cup takes a spill in the near corner of the Macon zone. 3 players hacking and whacking away at the loose puck along the half wall. Ends up bouncing in behind the net. The centering attempt goes off the stick of Timofeyev and bounces back out into neutral territory. Jason Price with it on his stick near the Ortho Georgia Ice logo. He'll feed it up the left wall. Garrett Sargis. His first game this season was a 720 spinorama in the neutral zone. After being checked, Etma rolls it around. Danny Caesar's got it now on the far side. Cuts his way to the near side of the ice, then chips it off the glass and goes in after it. Puck flies out of play and lands in the bottom of section 205. 7 minutes remaining in the second period. Knoxville maintaining its 2-goal advantage here at the Macon Centreplex. Danny Caesar, one of the players to watch tonight, a former Ice Bear who had a goal in both games last weekend, his first of the season 1 week ago. And again, he's been all over the ice tonight. He said at line change that he feels a lot more comfortable in helping the team generate offense. Proof is in the pudding. He's been a lot more freewheeling out there over the past couple of weeks. Here's Marley Quince, defended by Zach Urban. Quince hammers a slap shot about 15 feet wide of the net. The puck was scooped up by Cousineau and angles it out in the direction of Kalaman. Missed his stick. Then the Ice Bears on the counterattack. Quince with a shot blocked by Urban. Gets back on it and sends it over. And the one-timer taken there by Bryce Nielsen just missed the right post. Quince recovers. Holds the line. Puts it in below the goal line now, and it's played by Benson in behind the Macon cage. Tries a dipsy doodle away from Oleg Kalaman, who took it off his stick, and Kalaman will just calmly skate it down the left boards. Perez floats it into the Knoxville zone. Played down by Hayden Stewart. We're getting a whistle here, a holding penalty called against Knoxville. In the midst of all that line changing, somebody on Knoxville's side, I guess, sort of got himself in the way of one of the Mayhem players trying to get on the bench and complete a line change. So Jacob Benson will take a seat. For the first time tonight, the Mayhem will get a power play. Macon's power play coming into this game, clicking at just 6.3%, second to last in the SPHL. A goal here would really do them a lot of favors. They still trail by 2 as we approach the three-quarter mark of the second period. Fighting for it behind the net, Stathis left off for Danny Perez. Up to the slot, Zach Urban with a head fake, sets up Perez, whose shot ricochets behind the net. Alex Carlson is checked. Perez with an excellent keep from the circle, no high stick. Pirog, Perez, right corner. He will reverse it, Sumilidis back up the wall, Urban holds the line. Feeds it over to Stepan Timofeyev, who will bounce it down to the adjacent corner on the far side. Pirog rolling it back up the half wall. Timofeyev sends it at the net. It bounces around. Urban receives it high slot. Timofeyev, slap pass across to the near circle. Danny Perez didn't have it in his wheelhouse, couldn't pull the trigger. He will give it to Urban, who fires. That was a bullet, but it was seen all the way by Hayden Stewart as there was no screen in front of him. Hayden Stewart made it look easy. Zach Urban's got a rocket. Tied for the team lead in penalty minutes with Stepan Timofeyev, each of whom have 19 on the season. Zach Urban, the Mayhem's most tenured defenseman. Celebrated a 26th birthday earlier this month. Danny Caesar outer hash marks far circle. Sends it into the slot. Soper hacked it on goal. It bounced up in the air, and it was easily stopped by Stewart. And Stefan Bricado is in a foot race, which will be lost to Danny Caesar. Caesar wrapped up by Bricado, and Soper skillfully plays it up to his stick. He will skate it out to center now with a full head of steam. Advanced it for Ortiz, who was stymied upon entering the zone. Kalaman resets. Caesar offside, it looked like, but nothing will be called here. Good keep at the right point by Caleb Cameron, whose pass was broken up by Granath and cleared. 30 seconds remain on this Wild Wing Cafe power play. Cameron rattles it into the zone. It's halted behind the Knoxville cage by Hayden Stewart and cleared all the way down. Entma's out of his net. We'll reverse it. Oleg Kalaman is in pursuit of it with Garrett Sargis. Puck's been flung back out in front of the Macon bench and taken away by Carlson. He rattles it back in. It escapes the reach of Entma. With it on his stick now is Marley Quince in the near corner. It bounces out in front of the Knoxville bench now. Time has expired. Both teams back to full strength. Here's Pirog dropping it off. Sumilidis hits the crossbar. Folks here thought that was in the goal. It was not. That one went bar down, but it stayed out of the net. Now Pirog pursues it. Far corner. Whacks it back to the line. Smith put it in front. Tipped on goal by Sumilidis and stopped by Stewart. Some bad puck luck for the Mayhem in this game. Knoxville scored on a bar down snipe earlier in this game. Macon just didn't get that one, probably I'd say 1/10 of an inch or so that they needed to get that friendly bounce. 3:38 to go in the second period. Macon trailing by a pair as the middle stanza comes to a close.
Trying to plan out a night of fun for an upcoming birthday? Why not spend it right here with the Mayhem? The Tommy's Bakery and Cafe Birthday Suite is available right here at the Macon Centreplex for all home games during the 2019-20 season. The birthday suite comes chock full of benefits, including 12 tickets, a private suite area with a great view of the ice, donuts from Tommy's Bakery, a visit from Mac the Mascot, and a special present for the birthday child. All of this for just $250, with additional tickets available for $12 each. Visit MaconMayhem.com or call our office for more information.
So, folks, I'm seeing that the issues on SPHL Live are continuing. The blackouts continue happening every so many seconds, so we do apologize for that. What I'm going to do in between periods here is I'm going to run down to the office. I've got a spare HDMI cable. The cable we're using now is the same one we've been using, and we didn't have any issues last week, so I'm not sure if the cable is just wearing down or what, but I'm going to run down to the office, get a different HDMI cable, plug that in, and hopefully that resolves the problems. Again, my apologies for the interruptions that you're experiencing on SPHL Live tonight. Larry Smith goes back to get the puck in his own zone. Get some help from Caleb Cameron. It's been cleared out to center. Danny Perez had it go between his stick and his skates. Benson is able to just barely get it past the blue line in front of the Macon bench. Recovered by Perez and given back to Oleg Kalaman. Kalaman slides it to his right. Ben Campbell's got it. Bryce Nielsen's in the F1 position. Campbell's cleared it off the boards all the way down. Icing is called against Macon. That icing has been brought to you by Tropical Smoothie Cafe. Both teams failing to convert on their last power play opportunity. Knoxville 1 for 2 on the night. Macon 0 for 1. Those of you on the YouTube broadcast, thanks so much for joining us. We hope you're enjoying the audio-only stream on the Mayhem YouTube channel. Josh Kuzno winning the defensive zone faceoff cleanly. Ben Campbell from below his own goal line will bank it off the glass. Danny Perez accelerates it. This will not have enough juice on it to be an icing call. Macon able to change on the fly. They get a fresh 5 out there. In the meantime, here comes Knoxville's Pierre Willette. Smooth skating defenseman who will just dump it in below the goal line in the Macon zone. Cup is checked into the end wall. Gets some help from Cameron. He will twist it around. Willette holds the line. He will feed it to Nielsen, given off to Carlson, whose one-timer is denied by Kevin Etma. Now it's Cottrell. Puts it in behind the net. Stefan Bricato's got it. Near corner, it's battled for by Cup and Bricato. Bricato will send it into the far corner, and Scott Cottrell twists and turns to try to get some separation from Cameron. Ooh, and then Ben Campbell sent Cottrell hard into the corner boards. That's going to be a penalty against the Macon defenseman. Cottrell very slow to get up. That's an old teammate of his, folks. Played 3 years together at Nichols College. Played a couple of games together this season in Knoxville. No love lost between the two of them. A huge hit thrown by Ben Campbell from a pretty vulnerable position on Scott Cottrell, who's being helped back to the Knoxville bench. He appears to be okay. But Ben Campbell's going to have a seat. 2 minutes for boarding. Campbell to the sin bin. Second penalty of the season. And this Mayhem penalty kill is going to be brought to you by J&J's Heating and Air Conditioning. 1:57 to go in the second period. 2 minutes on this Knoxville power play, the likes of which they've converted on once tonight. Jarrett Cup will slide it over, and puck's been cleared all the way down by Caleb Cameron. Just wide of the net, Hayden Stewart decided to play it. Stephen Pirog lost an edge and went skating full speed ahead into the net, dislodging it. A little too fast for his own good there, trying to force Hayden Stewart into making a mistake. Fortunately, Pirog is okay as he gets back onto his skates under his own power. We've seen plays like that result in injuries, folks. At the NHL level, Steven Stamkos broke his leg doing that and was out for an entire season. Went skates first into one of the boards. Good to see Steven Pirog all right. And he gave a stick tap to the pads of Hayden Stewart, telling him it was not intentional. Unfortunately, Stewart was nowhere near the net when that happened. That could have really been dangerous. See what Pirog was doing. He was just trying to apply pressure and really get into Stewart's head and hope to force him to make a mistake and cough the puck up, make a bad pass. But with all that speed, he just lost an edge and went crashing into the net full speed. 1:19 to go in the second period. The Mayhem trailing by a pair. They've cut the deficit to 2 this period, but that was a long time ago. Stepan Timofeyev scoring just 29 seconds into this stanza. One of the linesmen repairing the net right now and making sure that it's all good to go. The ensuing draw is going to be placed, in case you were wondering, in front of the Macon bench. Well, we've got a second here. Let's look around the SPHL for your out-of-town scoreboard update, presented by Hampton Inn and Suites. Busy night. All teams in the league but 2 playing this evening. The Pensacola Ice Flyers, the Birmingham Bulls, both being given the night off. Peoria doubling up on Evansville with their lead 2-0. Quad City leading 1-0 over the Huntsville Havoc at Von Braun Arena. Fayetteville with a 4-1 advantage over the Roanoke Rail Yard Dogs early in the third period. The Zamboni door is now open behind the net that was dislodged, so this is really taking a lot longer than we would have expected to get resolved. Like we said, folks, it was just a non-contact trip from Stephen Pirog in which he was trying to turn a little too sharply. Lost his balance and slid full speed into the net and took it off its moorings. And one of the arena staff members helping the linesman to get it reset. Right now on the clock, it's showing 1 minute and 45 seconds remaining in the second period and 1:38 to go on the power play. Macon did a good job killing off Knoxville's last man advantage, but they did draw blood early in this game in the first period. Their first goal coming on the power play. A delay of game penalty called against Danny Caesar is what allowed that opportunity to come forth. Looks like they've got the net fixed. Hayden Stewart back in his crease, and we're ready to go for the last 105 seconds here. Josh Kuzno, Jarrett Cup, Danny Caesar, Zach Urban, all on the ice for Leo Thomas and the Mayhem to take a neutral zone draw in front of the home bench. And the puck drops. Kuzno dances his man off the face-off. Caesar's shot is blocked, and Cup's shot misses the net. Kramer leaves it off, and the Ice Bears are out to center with it. Nielsen tips it into the left corner of the Macon zone. Urban's got his stick wrapped up at the moment. Caesar will advance it along the wall. Not enough to clear it by Lucas Bombardier, who will feed it into the slot. Bryce Nielsen, left circle. His shot blocked by the skates of Cup. Went right to Quince, whose shot is blocked and cleared. Excellent penalty killing by Josh Kuzno. And the face-off early on that gave Jarrett Cup a scoring chance, and then blocking a shot and clearing it before going to the bench. Very good defensive shift by the SBHL veteran. And now it's Stefan Mercado, who will feed one ahead. Right side, Florent drops it into the left circle. Cottrell, Kramer missed the net with his shot. Ryan Devine has cleared it. That was Jones, rather, whose attempted wrist shot from the line misfired. Hayden Stewart from the trapezoid rolls it along to his left. Florent drops it back in behind his own net. McVeigh coughs it up. Here comes Soper on the counterattack. Shovels a pass into the slot, and Cameron tried to tap it on goal. This shot was blocked, and Cottrell will slip one through. Evades a check from Soper. Deposited in behind the net. 12 seconds to go on this power play. 8 in the period. Devine can't get it up to Soper. One last opportunity for Knoxville. Florent's shot is blocked, and that'll do it. So the Mayhem do chip away at the deficit a little bit. They have drawn to within 2, so they've got 20 minutes remaining to try to erase a 2-goal deficit. 3 seconds to go on the power play for Knoxville. It will not be enough time to make a difference, so that's really insubstantial. The Mayhem will be back to full strength essentially right as the third period begins, so they will effectively improve to 2 for 3 on the penalty kill tonight. However, still a lot of work to be done. A virtually evenly played period, though Macon certainly had the edge in scoring chances, and they had the edge in goals. Stepan Timofeyev with his second of the game. He scored his first of the season in the first period, got his second in the same game, just 29 seconds in the period too. So he is really making a name for himself here over the past couple of weeks with not being timid in that scrap with Peoria goaltender Eric Levine, who's a professional veteran. last week and this week, getting himself on the goal-scoring sheet several times already tonight. He's going to be, spoiler alert, our guest on the Creek on Monday morning. Still have to talk to him about it, but Tony Doolin has requested his presence. The host of the morning show, in which I'll usually go Monday mornings, 8:30 a.m., 100.9 The Creek FM, and we'll probably bring Stepan Timofeyev along next Monday morning because of what he's been able to do over the past couple of weeks. He was great on line change, and I have no doubt he'll be great on that as well. So we've got about 18 and a half minutes or so of intermission time before third period action is brought your way. Like I said, folks, I'm going to run down to the office because I know that there have been issues on SPHL Live. It seems like the feed keeps cutting in and out. The screen keeps going black for a split second and then coming right back online. The only thing I can really think of is that the HDMI cable is faulty or loose, but it's not loose. Our camera operator has been keeping a very close eye on it and doing all he can to try to make sure that those of you tuned in at home get a quality stream. So I can assure you it's not an issue. It's not human error here. We're keeping a close eye on it. It's just a matter of, I'd have to guess, really just needs a new cable. So I'm going to run down to the office, grab a spare HDMI cable, swap them out, and hopefully that fixes the issues, at least for the time being. If not, then we'll obviously look into it further tomorrow during the day, as we've got another broadcast tomorrow night as the Mayhem host the Birmingham Bulls. So again, folks, to those of you tuned in on SPHL Live, we do apologize. Thanks for sticking with us and being patient with us as we try to troubleshoot this issue. Those of you tuned in on YouTube, we hope you've enjoyed the broadcast thus far. The Mayhem trailing the Knoxville Ice Bears by a score of 4-2, with 40 minutes having expired through this game thus far. In the meantime, folks, while we try to resolve the issues at hand, please enjoy the second half of that last episode of Line Change with Coach Thomas. Again, every Tuesday night, 6 p.m. at the Rookery in downtown Macon. That's coming your way next on the Mayhem Broadcast Network. Don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be back before too long.
This question's for Timo. Being that Russian is your first language, is it difficult at times to communicate with players on the ice that are your teammates trying to just make plays and stuff? And if so, how do you try and overcome that?
Well, it's most of the time when teammates talking with me, it's swear words, and that was first what I learned in the United States. So, of course, I'm joking. Maybe not. I've been here 4 years. It's kind of easier, than right now. I'm sitting here most of the time when I see lots of people listening to me. I'm saying I don't speak English, but you have to understand your teammates. That's what I'm trying to sometimes.
Do you kind of serve as the translator on the bench for Oleg?
Yeah, I'm trying sometimes. Yeah.
He's probably a few years behind you. And
100%.
yeah.
100%. I need Timo with Oleg.
How does Mike deal with the defenseman only lessons?
Grabs Timo.
I guess so.
That's what I was going to say. I think there are a lot of people didn't know who Timo was until Friday night. Now
Right.
everybody knows who he is, and I've been reading all the comments, and I love all of them. You've been called a Chihuahua, a Pit Bull. Let's see, what other? I called you the Tasmanian devil because he wouldn't let go. But all of it was good. All of it. You're famous now.
Thank you.
There's just another comment. The ECHL is highly overrated. You don't want to go there. You want to stay here.
Stemming off of that, I guess, ECHL-related question, Coach. Did Minerva or Entma play at all this weekend? Do you happen to know?
Edmund didn't play. He was backing up, and Minerva did play both games. So, from what I was told, he played okay, and they're going to keep him up there a little longer, Minerva. And Edma, I should hear back here soon, but he should be on his way back. So. Minerva is staying a little longer, but Atma should be back here pretty soon. I know. I told him that too. So.
This is for Leo. I know you said Renee's back was bothering him Saturday night. Is that still going on? Is that why you put him on the suspension instead of IR?
No. Unfortunately, he later that night I got a text message from him, and he wanted to talk in the morning, and I think he got a little homesick. We had a great conversation. He was missing his family and stuff like that. So told him to, go clear your head if you want to go home for a bit and kind of see if things change down the road. You have a home here in Macon to come back to, and I kind of get where he was coming from being out that far in Manitoba, and it's kind of a culture shock for him, I think, a little bit. So, just granted him that and told him if he changed his mind to get back to me. So that was the reason I had to put him on team suspension. I just didn't want to let him go.
So that actually kind of leads me into my question that I was thinking about. Around the league, there have been a lot of interesting team suspensions and stuff like that going on, and was just kind of curious, in general, what are some things that can lead someone to get suspended like that? Some general reasons that you've either seen other coaches do or that you've used, or because from our perspective as fans, we only really see guys suspended and not any real explanation as to why. So I was just curious, some general thoughts on that.
Obviously for the other teams, I can't say what those other suspensions were, but in ours there was a kid who wanted to go home and stuff like that. But other times it could be a player not getting along with a coach or quits on the team. It can be family stuff,
having to finish school.
Having to finish school, stuff like that. But for the most part, it's something where the player decides he's either done playing or he wants to move on, or or something like that. So, usually if it's a family thing where you got to go home for a week or so, it's just a bereavement leave. That player gets like a week off and then comes back. But anything to do with suspension means, a guy just doesn't want to be there and he's got to go home or something like that. Yeah.
Good job with the questions and comments so far, guys. Anything else?
Yeah, one more here, because I shaved my beard from Halloween, but I did want to ask Danny while he was here, should I ever decide to grow it back? Because I got some pretty good compliments on it. What would be some tips? Because once I got to about half the length you are, I just couldn't do it anymore.
I really don't know. A lot of people that grow beards talk about how itchy it is or how hot they get. The only problem I have is when my mustache grows too big, it grows over my lip and I tend to get food in it a lot and I don't like it. So I just shave that right now. But I don't mind mine. It never gets itchy. I use this stuff called Stiffies. It's something I found at Tennessee, what's it called? I don't know. It's just this guy sets up a little stand and tries to promote his product, but he showed it to me. It's the best stuff I've ever used, and I enjoy it, so I don't see it going anywhere anytime soon.
So last week we had Marcus Ortiz on, your roommate. He said that he loves rooming with you because of how clean of a guy you are. I guess I'm just curious, how difficult is it to keep that beard clean?
Well, it's tough when you sweat as much as I do.
Yeah.
And when I say as much as I do, I don't mean as much as a hockey player does. I mean as much as I do. I noticed recently, since we haven't had ice, we've been doing team spin class, and around my bike, it looks like, I'm on an island, and there's a big old lake around me. So I get pretty sweaty. The beard gets it dries out pretty quickly, so I bring my product to practice with me. I put it in after I shower. Then I go work out, and then I have to shower again and put it in again. So it's kind of a process, but, at the end of the day, I enjoy it. My girlfriend enjoys it, so it's all that matters.
Yeah, it seems like she does enjoy it. So in practice, do guys, I guess, go out of their way to avoid having to defend you with, your island of sweat surrounding you all the time?
Well, I got all that equipment on top of it, so it doesn't get too bad. But, yeah, I think guys choose to defend against me, especially with the way I played the first 2 weeks. But, no, this week's been all battles. It's been a lot of fun, and I just feel like, it doesn't matter who you battle against. You got to give 110%, and I think we did that the last 2 days, and I think it'll definitely show this weekend against Knoxville. So.
Yeah, that's right. So just remember, guys, this Friday night against Knoxville is our first family 4-pack night of the season. That's a little bit different this year. For just $50, you get 4 tickets and then a $30 gift card at Texas Roadhouse. So if any of you are interested in taking advantage of that, we'd strongly recommend doing so. We'll probably only be able to do that promotion once a month or so this season. And then it's also a Whitey Tighty Toss. That's, for those of you who haven't heard, that's going to benefit local charities. Bring Whitey Tighties. You can bring socks, gloves, just warm clothing, essentially, that we're going to throw on the ice after the team scores its first goal, and it's all going to go to the DePaul Project for local charity and help them out. So, and then Saturday, of course, is going to be our Cancer Awareness Night. Any other questions, guys? Yes, sir. Oh, yeah, sorry about that.
Are they going to redo bike nights since it got rained out?
Bike night.
When they did the Harley night.
Oh, I was bike. What do you mean got rained out?
It rained that
They
night.
had to bring the bike in?
I was the only one that showed up on a bike. Everybody else, I'm not bringing it. It's raining.
I'm sorry. That just shows you how much of an island I'm in broadcasting. I don't even hear about these things. But yeah, that's really unfortunate. I don't think they'll be able to redo it just because they'd have to cancel a different promotion in order to make that happen. But yeah, sorry about that. It's bad timing. All right, guys. If there's no more questions, I'm going to move on to the last part of the show. We're just going to sort of preview the upcoming weekend we have coming up. And then, as always, we're going to ask a last trivia question that we have at the end. My clumsy self, I forgot to bring the puck this time, so whoever gets the answer right will just have to either swing by our office or just get it at the next line change you come to. But I will make sure that I get it signed by these two gentlemen. So, Coach, Ryan Devine today, Sunday, he was officially activated off the IR. We announced it today. Is he expected to play this weekend?
Yeah, no, he'll definitely be in the lineup. It's good for him that he got this full week of practice in and get his legs underneath him and stuff like that. So he'll definitely be in the lineup for sure this week.
And he's somebody who we think will play a huge part just because of, the injuries that we've had on the blue line and then the call-up with Nick Minerva and whatnot. So we're looking forward to having him back. He's going to be wearing number 25, not 40, going forward. Last question I have for you, Coach. We haven't seen the Knoxville Ice Bears since the playoffs. They've been in it every single game this season. They haven't lost by more than a goal through 7 games so far. What's the scouting report that you have on them?
So far from watching video, I've only watched their last 2 games. They're a very fast team. They come at you in waves. They're not going to be overly physical or anything like that, but from what I see so far, they're just really, really fast. They'll cheat, but because they have that speed, they can get away with cheating a little bit. So we just got to play a full 60, be disciplined, just because they're not that kind of team that's going to be kind of in your face and physical and stuff like that. So I'm not worried about our team speed. I know we can match it. It's just about doing it for a full 60 minutes. So, over the next couple of days in practice here, we'll start getting into stuff that we'll probably use against them. And usually the day before the game, we'll show these guys video on their tendencies and breakouts and stuff like that. So we'll be prepared for them, though.
Definitely. We're going to enjoy it this weekend. It should be a fun tilt on Friday. A lot of speed on the ice from both fronts. And then, of course, Saturday against the Birmingham Bulls, team that the Mayhem have achieved their largest margin of victory against this season. President's Cup runners-up. Always a good game with them as well. The last question I have is always going to be a trivia question. Somebody's got to knock Sal here off his throne. He's won 2 weeks in a row. It's going to be a tough one, though, so just brace yourselves. The trivia question is this. Stepan Timofeyev have played in the Commissioner's Cup Finals 2 years in a row with 2 different teams in the Federal League. Name those teams. Got one of them. Oof, two people answered at once. I think, yeah. Sorry, Bill, you were a second off. Sean got it. You'll get one of these days, man. You're close. But all right, congratulations, Sean. You can pick up your puck, I guess, this week at some point from the office or next week at line change. But for now, that's all we have. We hope you've enjoyed your meals, folks, and we hope to see you again next week. Thanks, guys.
Okay, welcome back, everybody, and we hope you enjoyed the end of that episode of Line Change with Coach Thomas. You just listened to the second half of our last episode of Line Change, episode 4. Again, every Tuesday night at the Rookery, Leo Thomas Coach's Show, 6 to 6:30 p.m. or so. We'll always bring two player guests along as well. Stepan Timofeyev and Danny Caesar were our guests last weekend. Or last Tuesday, I should say. They both did a great job. Come on by. We'd love to have you folks. Ask any question your heart desires and enjoy some delicious handcrafted Macon food in the process. We've got about 3 minutes or so until the third period kicks off. The Mayhem were able to chip away at their deficit at least a little bit. They drew to within 2. They entered period 2 trailing by 3. They entered period 3 trailing by 2. So Stepan Timofeyev drawing his second goal of the night, just 29 seconds into the second period. He entered the offensive zone with Stathis Zoumalidis crashing to the front of the net, perhaps drawing the attention of Hayden Stewart, the Knoxville goaltender. And as Sumi was driving to the front of the net, Stepan just ripped it from inside the blue line. It barely went inside of the crossbar and grazed the bottom part of the crossbar. And just sort of a bar down snipe from Timo, his second goal of the game. Second with the Mayhem, second of the season. Again, less than half a minute into the second period. However, the Mayhem could not continue to chip away. They were hoping to really, if not erase this deficit, then at least draw to within 1 before the third period started after that explosive goal by Timofeyev. But Hayden Stewart shut the door and got a little bit of help from his one of his best friends, the crossbar. Every goaltender's best friend, really. And it just sort of, there was a shot, I believe it was Danny Caesar. Memory's escaping me a little bit on who shot. It might have been Ortiz. One of the former Ice Bears, I believe, took the shot that grazed off the inside of the crossbar and just bounced down and stayed out. It was such a close call. It might have been Zoumalidis. Yeah, I really can't remember whose shot it was, but it just went off the inside of the crossbar, bounced down, and stayed out. So a huge break for Knoxville, who, because of that bounce, were able to stay ahead by a couple of goals. By the way, folks, I think we have resolved our issue on SPHL Live. We fiddled around with the HDMI cables up here. There were actually a couple, one running from the camera to the encoder, and then another running from a camera onto a display monitor. So we just switched them around and fiddled with them and tested out the one that was previously being used for the display monitor, and now it's running through the camera directly to the encoder, and it seems to be working a lot better. We tested around a little bit during the intermission, moved the camera left and right, up and down, and the screen never went black once. So fingers crossed, hopefully that issue has been resolved. That won't happen again. In the meantime, folks, we do apologize. For those of you tuned in on SPHL Live, we're very sorry for the interruptions. Every once in a while, something like that will happen, and it's just nothing you can really prepare for. It's something that, with the equipment we've been using for the past few weeks, and there have not been any issues like this. It's just not something that we thought to look for prior to this game. But every once in a while, something like that will just happen on the fly, and there's nothing you can do about it until it's a little too late. So we realize that it's a paid service, and you missed probably a few little snippets of the game due to the intermittent stoppages and the blackouts, but we're confident that the problem should be resolved. And we thank you, as always, for cooperating with us and for staying patient as we work through that issue. Meanwhile, this game is just about ready to be back underway as the third period has now begun. The puck has dropped. Campbell's been let out of the Beyond Taboo Tattoo penalty box. The Mayhem have, however, iced the puck. The Mayhem improving to 2 for 3 on the J&J's heating and air conditioning penalty kill and will now face a defensive zone draw to the right of Kevin Etma. Kevin Etma in his first game back after a weekend or couple of week-long stint in the ECHL with the Orlando Solar Bears, the Tampa Bay Lightning affiliate. Etma did not play a game. He backed up last Saturday. And now it's Marley Quince being closed off the puck. A shot attempt from the goal line there by Jacob Benson didn't work out. Puck bounces off the stick of Nielsen. He twists and turns, is sized up by Zach Urban in the far corner. Quince lost a handle on the puck and a long stretch pass by Kalaman finds Sumalitis. 2-on-1. Pirog gets the pass. He's in to the backhand. Can't slip it through the 5-hole. Hayden Stewart is down to the stick save. Great pass by Sumalitis on that 2-on-1. He put it right on the tape of Steven Pirog, who just drove in. Pirog, that was a nice move. That was a good attempt. A lot of natural goal scorers will attempt that, coming in strong on the forehand side and just deking to the backhand and trying to slip it through the goaltender's 5-hole. Remember, folks, when a goaltender slides over from left to right or right to left, that 5-hole comes open because the sliding motion, the goaltender has really no choice but to kick open the legs a little bit and spread his pads out. And when that happens, there's a little gap, certainly large enough for a puck to fit through. And you see a lot of players score a goal just like that. But unfortunately for Pirog, it didn't work out. It just went off of Hayden Stewart's stick. Pirog still looking for his first goal of the season with the Mayhem. He's been a playmaking machine. He has set up his teammates with aplomb. 7 assists on the campaign, which leads the team. And we're having some issues here with leakage from the ceiling. There's water dropping down right where Ryan Devine is standing near the left point. A couple of steps away from the Mayo Hill Ice logo. And Devine is looking up. He's indicating the problem coming from the roof. It is raining outside, and that's not doing the Mayhem any favors. And I believe the referee is going to pause this game. Jason Lordy skating now towards the Zamboni door, skating to Kevin Etma. The linesman being called over now to the near corner glass in the Knoxville zone. The players are still lined up as though play will continue, but the leak has not really stopped. It is picked up and it has slowed down throughout the game. But play is going to have to continue. We're already more than 2/3 of the way done. This game must go on. The puck drops. The Ice Bears have won the draw. Sumalitis delivers a good hit into Alex Carlson. Scott Cottrell out to the red line will chip it into the offensive zone. Kevin Etma shovels it to his left. Jarrett Cups got it in the far corner. Steven Pirog couldn't quite advance it through Carlson. Now it's given back Bricado. His stick lifted by Sumalitis. Bricado's back on it. Sumalitis loses his stick. Here's a shot. Bombardier robbed by Etma. Huge glove save on the Knoxville captain. Lucas Bombardier played all 56 games for the Ice Bears last season, but to start the campaign this time around, he missed the first 7 tilts. He was activated off the IR earlier this afternoon. It's his 3rd straight season in Knoxville, captain last season and this season, number 48 in white. Robbed by the glove hand of Kevin Etma just moments ago. Scott Cottrell deposits the puck inside of the Macon trapezoid, angled off the half wall, and Danny Perez trying to clear it out past the blue line. Caesar will float it from right to left. Perez can't quite pick it up. Campbell will follow through. He enters the Knoxville zone skillfully, still has it on his stick and will just backhand it off the end wall. Alex Carlson chips it off the glass. Larry Smith with a good keep. He centers it. It's Cousineau from the high slot. He recovers and banks it off the corner boards on the near side of the ice. Danny Perez is hit into the end wall, and the Ice Bears have just cleared it. Puck's whacked out of midair by Caleb Cameron. Would have been a high stick, but Knoxville had played it. Now a stretch pass finds Cameron on the left wing. He sends it into the Knoxville zone, goes off the glove, it looked like, of Ricky Kramer. Play resumes here, and it's outletted by Anthony McVeigh to the left side. McVeigh gets the return from Sargis and shoots. Etma is down with a butterfly save. 2:08 into the third period, 4-2 Knoxville, your score. All 4 of their goals came from the opening period. Macon has spread them out 1 goal apiece through periods 1 and 2. First periods have been Macon's best so far this season. In period 3, they've been outscored 6-9 through 8 games played. Anthony McVeigh winning the offensive zone face-off. Jason Price recovering to prevent a Caleb Cameron breakaway, and now Kevin Etma's got it on his stick. At the edge of the trapezoid, tries to fire it around. Florent cut it off and sent one rink wide through the crease. Left point shot gets blocked by Cameron. Soper steals it at center ice, joined by Ortiz. 2-on-1, Soper. Ortiz missed the left post with the one-timer. Ortiz gets it back, left corner, fires from a tough angle. Shoulder save made by Hayden Stewart. And the loose puck is corralled now by Jason Price and cleared out to the blue line. The Ice Bears counterattack, 2-on-2. Florent was at the end of a shift, so he and Ricky Kramer will just skate to the Knoxville bench. Kevin Etma had it go off his stick. We're 3 minutes into the third period. Already a couple of good chances on both sides. Sumalidas down his off wing. Pirog storming to the front of the net. Sumalidas to the tail gunner. It's Pirog. Timofeyev in the slot. Gets it from Pirog and returns it to him in the near corner. Floats back up to the line. Devine gives it over. Jarrett Cup down on a knee. Unable to salvage possession as it's whacked back out to the Macon logo at center ice. Devine to Timofeyev. St. Petersburg, Russia native, will advance it up to the blue line. Knoxville back in possession as it's been whacked into the offensive zone and around the end wall counterclockwise by Bryce Nielsen. Etma sends it out to Ryan Devine. The former Pensacola Ice Flyer sends a Hail Mary pass that nearly lands flat on the tape of Timofeyev, just a half stride in front of him. Bricado drops it back to the red line. It's flung in by Alex Carlson and halted by Kevin Etma. Jarrett Cupp's got it. Curry College grad, advanced it up the far half wall. Caesar wrapped up with his former teammate Lucas Bombardier. Josh Kuzno's got it. Two-time President's Cup champion in 2015 and 2016 with 2 different teams, namely Knoxville and Pensacola. Here comes Caesar, slicing through the middle. He sends it a pass to himself, goes crashing into the far corner with it. Gets some help from Danny Perez, and Bricado has cleared it directly out of play. This ought to be a penalty against Knoxville. Should be a delay of game penalty against the Ice Bears. And the All-State bonding penalty box has been opened. And Stefan Bricado will take a seat. Macon going to just its second power play of this game. Hoping to strike here in what would be a crucial goal with 15:38 remaining in the third period and the Mayhem trailing by a pair of goals. Caleb Cameron will take the offensive zone face-off to the left of Hayden Stewart, who's been strong in net tonight for Knoxville. Cameron against Marley Quince. The puck drops. Quince wins the draw. And Ricky Kramer advancing up the half wall on the far side. Good head fake by Kalaman. He will scurry over to salvage the puck at the blue line. Caesar flings it through the slot. It went off of Ortiz and back out. Cameron, Ortiz, right in the middle of the ice. He will advance one to Caesar, just out of his reach. Kramer is back for Knoxville. Rolls in behind the net, pops up in the air in the far corner. Soper falls down. Clearing attempt succeeds. It goes off the stick of Price and all the way down. Etma's out of his net. He will fling one ahead, hoping to catch Knoxville in the midst of a line change as Caesar pivots. Loses a handle on the puck, recovers it. Sumalita shoots and scores. It was redirected in front. Marcus Ortiz got his stick in the shooting lane on the way through and just chipped it over the pads of Hayden Stewart. The Mayhem are back to within 1. Maybe some redemption for Marcus Ortiz for having missed earlier on that 2-on-1 rush. He just buries his team-leading 5th goal of the season against his former squad. 4-3 Knoxville, a power play goal for the Mayhem, and a huge one at that. to bring themselves back to within one, and this place is fired up. Plenty of time, 15 minutes to go. The Mayhem trailing by just a goal. They have clawed back into this game. Scott Cottrell flutters a saucer pass off the skates onto the stick of Lucas Bombardier, who is checked pretty hard by Stathis Sumalides. Puck is turned over in front. Bombardier is denied. Kick save by Yentma. Huge stop by the Macon netminder, and here comes Pirog. Counterattack, left wing side. He dips his way behind the defense and couldn't get much of a shot off after that move. He had sort of run out of real estate there, and now Bombardier will swivel his way back into Macon territory. Like the Ice Bears are on a delayed offside, unbeknownst to Bombardier. Long stretch pass finds Timofeyev on the left wing. He will flutter one towards Perez. Near half wall, he's pinned up, doesn't have much room. Kuzno coughs it up, and now it's Cottrell. Carlson. Quince. Far corner. Perez steals the puck. Tries to turn and center it for Kuzno. He's well covered. Carlson is able to clear it past Cup and down. Just another problem, folks, for left-handed shooters on the right point. It's been troublesome all evening long, really, for the Mayhem. Those defensemen on the right side are having a hard time keeping the attack going. Cup will slide it to his left. Devine tees it up and fires. It gets blocked. Bryce Nielsen put himself in the way in the circle. And the loose puck comes to Benson, who has just cleared it out. Here's Ryan Devine. McVeigh right up the middle, feeds it to his left. A wrist shot blocked, and that was Botchnock getting the shot off, and the Mayhem commence a counterattack. Jarrett Cup spirits one ahead. Caleb Cameron flutters it wide of Hayden Stewart's net. Soper centers it, goes off the skates of Bryce Nielsen. He has just chiseled one off the glass. Not enough momentum to reach Oleg Kalaman, who backpedals now in the defensive. Botchnock with a backhand shot that's blocked by Zach Urban. 12.5 to play in the third period. 4-3 Knoxville, your score. Macon having scored 2 unanswered goals, 1 in the second, 1 in the third, and they're now back in this one. As Kevin Entma holds on to a loose puck at the side of his net. 12.5 again to play in the third. 4-3 your score here in Macon. I want to take a brief pause on the Mayhem Broadcast Network, folks. Hope you're enjoying the broadcast up till this point. We'll be back in just a moment.
Money for a cause and have a blast while doing it? The Mayhem would be happy to help you out through our fundraiser program, available for all home games throughout the season. You buy tickets from us for $10 each, you sell them for $15, and you keep the remaining $5 per ticket sold for whichever cause your heart desires. If you were to sell 50 tickets, for example, you would collect $250 for your fundraiser. Call our office at 478-803-1592 for more information. The beloved Family 4-Pack is back. The Mayhem are offering this incredibly affordable package for several games throughout the season. For just $50, you receive 4 tickets and a $30 gift card to Texas Roadhouse at 5080 Riverside Drive right here in Macon. The dates for these 4-pack nights will be announced on social media as they become finalized, so be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube for all the most up-to-date content.
So the Mayhem win the defensive zone faceoff, and Zach Urban slaps it all the way down the ice. Near breakaway as Ortiz has to settle it down in the left corner. It rolled just a little bit too far into his path, or he would have had a great opportunity for his second of the period. The puck squirts free right out to Anthony McVeigh, who's got a 3-on-3 developing. He tries to lay one ahead for Brady Florent just outside of his reach. And Florent's got it now in the near corner, and looks like a little bit of a clip there on Botchnock. Play continues. No penalty on Soper as Urban takes over from in behind his own net. Alex Carlson hammers it just wide of the net from the red line. Kevin Entma didn't touch it. Larry Smith, Niagara University graduate. Soper, rink-wide pass. Kalaman up to Timofeyev. His fellow Russian will take it into the left corner. He sends it in behind the net. Kalaman's got it again. Back to his countryman Timofeyev inside of the Knoxville trapezoid. And the puck's been cleared past Kalaman. It rolls down into Macon territory. Larry Smith has it. Stephen Pirog from the red line can't get it through that myriad of Ice Bears standing near the blue line, and the icing call is made against Knoxville as they'd cleared it in from short of the red line past Kevin Entma's net. So 11:10 to go in the third period. The Mayhem trailing the Ice Bears by a score of 4-3. Over half the period remains for the Mayhem to tie this game. Stephen Pirog to take the face-off. Going up against Scott Cottrell, Knoxville's leading scorer from last season. The puck drops. Pirog, Johnny on the spot, wins the draw. Sent back to the line for Smith, who hammered a one-timer wide of the blocker side post of Hayden Stewart. Smith scurries over to the left point, secures possession, loses an edge. Bombardier trying to make him pay for it, but Smith recovered in time and floated it back in. And behind his own net, Hayden Stewart leaves it off. Ben Campbell poking and prying at it, far half wall near the point. Sumalitis throws a huge hit, and a penalty is going to be called against the Czech. And the fans here none too happy with that call. Pierre Ouellette had the puck for a second. Sumalitis crunched him into the half wall. He's going to take a seat in the Beyond Taboo Tattoo penalty box. It'll be the fourth Knoxville power play of this game. The Ice Bears have an opportunity to really put a damper on Macon's momentum. Roughing the call against Sumalitis, which is questionable because, to me at least, it looked like Pierre Ouellette had the puck at least momentarily. Not sure I agree with that call, but the Mayhem will have to kill off this penalty here. This is an essential 2 minutes. Zach Urban, far corner, lofts it all the way down over the glove of Jason Price, and Hayden Stewart passes it off to Cooper Jones. The ex-Halifax Moosehead will skate out from his own zone and advance it up to Bryce Nielsen. He will deposit it into the Macon end. Kevin Entma to Cup. Can't clear it. Pinballs off a Knoxville skate. Good job done by Kuzno again. He's been excellent defensively throughout this game. And he signals to the Macon bench and skates there to be replaced by Jimmy Soper. In the meantime, Knoxville begins its breakout. Marley Quince with a head fake storms into the Macon zone. He enters wide, swivels on the left side, puts it in front, tipped on goal by Nielsen, denied by Entma. Quince will rattle it back to the point again. Jason Price walks the line, tees it up and fires. Goes off the blocker, it looked like, of Entma, and ricocheted wide of the cage. Now it's Jarrett Cup. He clears it past Cameron all the way down, and Hayden Stewart has it in behind his net. The Cornell University graduate will deliver it to Jason Price. Knoxville alternate captain leaves it now, and out comes Cooper Jones with it. Stefan Braccato rolls the puck into the right circle. 42 seconds remain on this Macon penalty kill, brought to you by J&J's Heating and Air. It's shoveled back to the point. Ricky Kramer goes back down to Lucas Bombardier. Hammered a one-timer from the point, and it's denied by Entma. Has to scramble back into his crease. Made a couple of big pad saves. The Mayhem not out of the woods yet. Kramer delivers it to the adjacent goal line. It's Braccato returning it. Kramer's got it above the right circle, looking for a friendly deflection from Bombardier, which just missed the net. Cooper Jones, Bombardier, Ricky Kramer above the right circle. He waits. Kramer feeds it to the goal line. It's Stefan Braccato with it. Tries a tough angle shot. Entma's got it at the edge of his skate. The whistle blows. 1 second showing on the clock. Sumalitis wanted to storm out of that Beyond Taboo Tattoo penalty box. Couldn't do it because there is 1 second left on the clock and a defensive zone faceoff upcoming. So that's unfortunate for the Mayhem, who will really be on the penalty kill for another 4 or 5 seconds, the time it'll probably take for the door to open and Sumalitis to skate back into the defensive zone, or, depending on what Leo Thomas prefers, skate back to the Macon bench. I think it'll depend on the situation. It's tough to communicate. What should be happening right now is Leo Thomas should be sending somebody from the Macon bench to the Macon penalty box, relaying the message of what Leo wants Sumalitis to do, unless he already knows what he's going to do. Well, Evansville Thunderbolts have gained a lead over the Peoria Rivermen, hence the cheer, the round of applause you're hearing at the Macon Centreplex. But there's a good chance that Sumalitas already knows the plan, and that's why there was nobody sent over to communicate with him. If I had to guess, he's going to, when he jumps back onto the ice, he'll go into the defensive zone first and help his team defend. The only way that doesn't happen is if the Mayhem get a clear immediately. Terry Reynolds, the head off ice official, with his hand on the door. It's been let open. Sumalitas, as predicted, skates into the defensive zone to help his team out, and the Mayhem have improved to 3 for 4 on the PK tonight. Kevin Etma fights off a long point shot from Alex Carlson. It's rattled around by Zach Urban. Bit too far for Caesar, who throws a hit. Wrist shot is on, stopped by Etma. Loose puck at the bottom of the far circle, cleared out to the neutral zone. Back on it now, Jarrett Cupp with a full head of steam. Pirog in across the blue line with a wrister that's denied by Hayden Stewart. Steven Pirog, 25 years of age, played for 3 different teams in the Ontario Hockey League from 2011 to 2015, including the Sarnia Sting, where he wore an A. He's named captain this season at the onset of the 2019-20 campaign for the Mayhem back on October 18th. The 4th captain in franchise history, joining the likes of Curtis Meganson, Daniel Gensler, and Matt Summers. The puck's been fired into the left corner in the Macon zone. It's overskated by Knoxville, and the Mayhem could get a 3-on-2 developing. Nielsen hustles back. Caesar from the right side. Had his shot denied by Stewart. Good rebound control, and he soaks up the Perez shot as well. 7:51 to go in the third. The Mayhem will get an offensive zone face-off, trailing by a goal. 4-3 your score. Macon with a pretty rough first period. They conceded 4 Knoxville goals in the opening 20 minutes. They've not allowed another one since. It's only the 6th time in franchise history that the Mayhem have allowed 4 goals in a single period. That's the most ever, tied for the most ever. Campbell down the right side, centers it out in front. It eluded every friendly stick. Bombardier's stretch pass misses the target. Icing is the call against Knoxville. Cousineau is the first back to play it. That icing call has been brought to you by Tropical Smoothie Cafe. We've got 7.5 to play. Time slowly starting to wind down. And the Mayhem running out of opportunities to tie this game back up. They found themselves in an incredibly daunting deficit after the first period. And you've got to give them credit. They have not given up on this game. Soper throws a hit on Stefan Bricado in the far corner, but the Knoxville veteran has cleared it, and it looked like it might have gone off of a player on the Ice Bears bench. So the Mayhem will they'll catch a break and take an offensive zone faceoff here. Caleb Cameron to do the honors. Cameron, one of just 2 players to play all 56 games for the Mayhem last season. Has a degree in environmental science from Rochester Institute of Technology up in New York. Marcus Ortiz sent one into the high slot. It never reached Caleb Cameron, the intended recipient. Cooper Jones the other way. Coughs it up to Cameron from the red line. He's trying to fight for it and clear it back into Knoxville territory. Cooper Jones back on it. Charlie Granath. It's dumped back into the Macon zone. Flung around the boards from the backhand of Anthony McVeigh. Zach Urban now, near corner. McVeigh pressuring him. Pirog bursts out with it. Concedes possession to Bryce Nielsen. Here comes Marley Quince. Lost it in the skates of Zach Urban. Quince will just rattle it back into the Macon zone. Kevin Etma slows it down. Really actually brings it to a complete stop and sends it back the other way. A long left point shot by the Ice Bears gets blocked. It's Zach Urban pinned up in the far corner by Jacob Benson. Oleg Kalaman's got it behind his net. He will feed Timofeyev the breakout pass. Timofeyev dancing in across the Knoxville blue line, takes the shot into the glove of Hayden Stewart, and no further play. 6:02 to go in the third. 4-3 Knoxville. Macon has been chipping away at this deficit all evening long. Right now, shots favor Knoxville 26-20. The Mayhem are actually the second highest shooting team in the SPHL this season. They've done a great job of putting shots on net and testing opposing goaltenders, but not a good enough job of generating high-end scoring chances. Kuzno wins the offensive zone faceoff. Caesar turns and fires. It gets blocked and sails over the net, stays in play. Bombardier the other way, defended by Devine. He drives, dips the shoulder, and shoots on the backhand. And Entma with a stick save. Now Cup on the breakout for Macon. He's only got one man to pass to, really. A second joins him on his right. Perez will dump it into the left corner, and Cup helps him out. The two of them battle for it, surrounded by three Ice Bears on the near side. Caesar getting himself in there as well, sort of lurking around the perimeter of the scrap, hoping to pry free the loose puck. It rattles along the end wall, out to the far corner. Kuzno puts it back in behind the goal line. Perez has it. Knoxville viciously defending its tenuous one-goal lead now. Perez, excellent battling along the half wall on the far side of the ice. He delivers it in behind the net. Kramer sustains a huge check. Puck's been cleared all the way down. Devine has to make a play on it. Not far enough for icing. Good job done by Brady Florent while his teammates change to direct traffic there and prevent a stretch pass. Now here comes Anthony McVeigh into the Macon zone. Didn't really get much on that shot. Cameron goes after it in the far corner. Out-muscled by Garrett Sargis. Larry Smith sends one right up the middle. Jimmy Soper will drive. He's defended well by Charlie Granoff. And the Swedish-born defenseman is able to nip that rush in the bud. Larry Smith from the red line floats it over. Good diagonal pass. Pirog tries to twist it back to Soper. He was well behind him. Knoxville on the counterattack. Garrett Sargis, while his teammates change, will just send it clockwise around the Macon end wall. 4:14 to go in the third period. Steven Pirog digs the puck free. He will skate down the left wing, angles it to himself yet again, and enters the Knoxville zone. He's thrown into the half wall, outnumbered 3-1. Buys enough time for Sumilidis to pick up the puck. Stathis Sumilidis will leave it. Timofeyev's got it. And he is surrounded immediately. The puck's been cleared all the way into the Macon zone. Urban has to recover it and play it up to Sumilidis. Bounces off his stick. Ricky Kramer sends it right up the middle. Marley Quince across the blue line with a wrister right into the glove of Kevin Entma, who hangs onto it. 3:41 now remaining in the third period. Time is the enemy for the Mayhem. As we're heading to our final media timeout of regulation time, the Mayhem must score another goal if they're to salvage a point from this game. We'll be right back.
You know our players are stars on the ice, but what about off the ice? Want an opportunity to hang out with the Mayhem and to get to know their personalities better? Come out to Line Change, a Mayhem talk show featuring head coach Leo Thomas, as well as two player guests. Now in its second season, Line Change runs from 6 to 6:30 p.m. every Tuesday night on the Creek Stage at the Rookery at 543 Cherry Street in downtown Macon. You can get exclusive news on the team, ask any question you like to the players and the coach, and enjoy some delicious handcrafted Macon food in the process. Swing by the Rookery this Tuesday night at 6 p.m. We'd love to see you there. Trying to plan out a night of fun for an upcoming birthday? Why not spend it right here with the Mayhem? The Tommy's Bakery and Cafe Birthday Suite is available right here at the Macon Centreplex for all home games during the 2019-20 season. The birthday suite comes chock full of benefits, including 12 tickets, a private suite area with a great view of the ice, donuts from Tommy's Bakery, a visit from Mac the Mascot, and a special present for the birthday child. All of this for just $250, with additional tickets available for $12 each. Visit MaconMayhem.com or call our office for more information.
So we're back underway here at the Macon Centreplex for the final 3.5 minutes of play. The Mayhem trailing by a goal, 4-3 the score, with time winding down in this contest against the Knoxville Ice Bears. Jarrett Cup from his own left corner can't clear it past Bryce Nielsen, who turned a wrist shot at the net, easily dealt with by Entma. Cup's got another chance to clear this out. He will start it up the middle, and he fires it over the stick of Caesar. Would have been icing, but Perez is first there. Far corner. Danny Perez reverses it. Caesar's got it. He's slowed down a bit, but not completely. Turning a shot wide of the net was Perez, and now Knoxville has just gotten it up to Cup. Good keep by Cup. He centers it. Perez turns and fires. Stick save. Rebound bounced away from Jarrett Cup. Did an excellent job from his strong side, keeping the puck alive at the left point, but Perez was denied by Hayden Stewart's stick. Ben Campbell nullified a potential breakaway from Garrett Sargis. 2.5 to go in period 3. Jimmy Soper. Long outlet pass redirected into the offensive zone by Caleb Cameron, who will signal to the Macon bench for a change. Campbell guides it on back to Zach Urban. Northern Michigan product drops it back. Campbell with a full head of steam enters the Knoxville zone. Drops the puck off nicely. Pirog left circle. Cuts to his backhand. Tries to twist it in behind the net. Gets it as far as Soper. Penalty called against Knoxville, and the Mayhem will get a late power play with an attempt to tie this game back up. Pirog is down and in some pain. He might be bleeding out of his face a little bit. This will be a 4-minute double minor. Pirog is bleeding out of his face, folks. The Mayhem captain is in some distress as he skates to the Macon bench. And I think he's calling for the Mayhem trainer to patch him up quickly so that he can get back on the ice for the power play. Now that's a captain. Alex Carlson is going to have a seat here. Remember, the Mayhem scored on their last power play. Marcus Ortiz drew the team to within 1 earlier in this period. He redirected a shot up over the pad of Hayden Stewart into the net and gave himself his first lead, or his fifth goal rather of the season, his team leading 5th goal of the season. Now the unfortunate thing for Macon is that if they do not score in the next 2 minutes and 8 seconds, that double minor will mean nothing because the game will end. So really the best way to punish Knoxville for that high sticking infraction is to score as early as possible and to potentially take a 4-on-3 power play heading into OT. And that's exactly what Leo Thomas hopes to do here. I believe he's called his timeout to drop some plans for a 6-on-4. Now this is something that very seldom, if ever, gets practiced during the week, folks. There's just too much other stuff to do. If you're a head coach and you're trying to prepare your team for the weekend, a 6-on-4 is not exactly on the top of your priorities list when compared to some other things like reads and systems and zone breakouts and offensive zone surges and cycling and stuff like that, small area games. Very seldom do teams practice 6-on-4. But Coach Leo Thomas did say the Line Change Show, episode 3, I believe, when asked about it, he said that more and more often you're seeing this. You're seeing goaltenders pulled. You're seeing 6-on-5s and 6-on-4s, and he's been wanting to add it into the practice agenda for a long time, but when he played, it just wasn't really a thing. And there are always more important things, well, not more important things, but other things that pop up that sort of just take precedence in the practice times. So we'll see what these 6 attackers can do for the Mayhem. They've got 2 minutes and 8 seconds to tie this game up. Ortiz is beaten in the face-off circle by Marley Quince, but a good keep by Zach Urban keeps the attack alive for the time being. Stathis fighting for it far corner. Puck is whacked out of the air by Timofeyev, but it slides back out to the red line, and Zach Urban will have to recover it for Macon. 110 seconds. The net on the right side of your screen is empty. Timofeyev will survey his way across the Knoxville blue line. He's dispossessed of it. Ortiz regrouping. Urban down the right wing. Floats it into the right corner. Sumalitis is in after it. Marley Quince coughs it up. Ortiz from the left goal line centers it. Perez, one-timer, glove saved by Stewart. Great pass by Ortiz. He filtered it through the traffic, and Perez can really bring it, and he did. But Hayden Stewart made a splendid glove save. The puck trickles on net immediately following the face-off, and Sumalitis goes crashing into the boards. Timofeyev with a wrist shot from the left point. That's denied by Stewart. The puck pops in the air. It's been cleared all the way down. This will be an icing. Never mind, the Mayhem are on the power play. I beg your pardon. No icing, as Zach Urban must make a play on it. 1 minute and 7 seconds remain here in the third period. Caesar down the right side with a 6-on-4 continuing. He will send it off the backboard's glass. It's recovered by Sumalitis, given back to Perez. Can't get it all the way to Caesar. It trickles through. Opportunity at the empty net. McVeigh fires. It gets blocked by Urban. Right to Pirog. Back in across the Knoxville blue line. Passes it to himself again. Following through is Soper, but it's cleared over his head all the way down. And Timofeyev will have to race after it. 40 seconds. Time winding down on this tilt. Timofeyev from inside of his own zone begins to skate out to center ice. Gives it to his left. Caleb Cameron enters the zone on the left side. He dumps it into the adjacent corner. Clearing attempt fails. Pirog breaks it up. Outer hash marks left circle. Steven Pirog centering it, putting it in front. It bounces up in the air. Back to the slot. Kept in the zone by Urban. Settled and fed over to Perez. 19 seconds. Perez from the far corner puts it in front. Redirected on goal and stopped by Hayden Stewart. Great blocker save. The puck's been cleared just wide of the empty net, but that'll just about do it. The Mayhem are out of time. They've got to rush this up the ice. Timofeyev with 5 seconds whips it all the way down right into the glove of Stewart, who held on to it. The whistle blew. Half a second remaining on the clock. Probably not enough time for the Mayhem to get a shot. The referee will skate to the timekeeper's box and presumably ask him to add a second or two to the time, but I really don't know if that'll matter. The Mayhem are going to have to get a shot immediately to have a chance. Jeff Carr asking Jason Lordy why there was an extra second added, and Lordy giving him the explanation. 1 second was added, so we're at 1.5 remaining in the third period as the folks begin heading towards the exits. I believe Oleg Kalaman is the person who will shoot this. Pirog couldn't quite get it back to him, and the Ice Bears have held on. A 4-3 Ice Bears victory here in Macon tonight. And a first period that just put the Mayhem in an insurmountable hole proved to be the difference tonight. Macon doing an excellent job of just clawing themselves back into this game after falling behind by a 4-1 margin in the first 20 minutes. Just could not overcome the deficit. They chipped away in period 2. They chipped away in period 3, but ultimately fell just a goal shy of completing the comeback. Unfortunate because Steven Pirog bled for his team. There was another minute and 51 seconds remaining on a Macon power play that never fully came to fruition. A family 4-pack night crowd saluting the Mayhem for their efforts tonight. Nearly completed a 3-goal comeback, fell just 1 goal short, and will head into tomorrow night's tilt to square off against the Birmingham Bulls. The Knoxville Ice Bears, in the meantime, are going to get out of here tonight. They've got a game in Huntsville, a few hours northwest of here, tomorrow out at Von Braun Arena. So 4-3 the final score here in Macon. We've got to wrap this post-game show up pretty quick, folks, so we'll just do one quick out-of-town scoreboard update, followed by a brief breakdown of this game, and let you be on your way. Fayetteville, 6-2 victory over Roanoke tonight. That final score at the Crown Coliseum up in Fayetteville, North Carolina. On their bunch of jerks night in conjunction with the NHL's Carolina Hurricanes. Huntsville trailing by a goal, 2-1 the score in favor of Quad City early in period 3. And the Evansville Thunderbolts with a 3-2 lead over the Peoria Rivermen at the moment. That wraps up your final out-of-town scoreboard update presented by Hampton Inn and Suites. Well, this one was a strange one, folks. The Mayhem conceded 4 first-period goals, which was just too shy of the amount of goals they've conceded in the first period all season. I beg your pardon. That matches the amount of goals the Mayhem have allowed in the first period all season. They allowed it in 1 game. It tied a franchise record for most goals the Mayhem have allowed in a single 20-minute stanza. So a very rough first period defensively for the Mayhem. Just blown coverage all over the place. The Mayhem did not do a good job of clearing the crease. There were far too many rebounds and point-blank second opportunities. Kevin Etma just had way too much to deal with coming back from Orlando and really just being kind of not thrown into the game, but it was definitely a sort of a last-minute situation for him. He didn't even officially come back to the team and be listed on the transaction report until this afternoon. So with that in mind, the Mayhem needed to do a better job helping him out and getting him readjusted. And they just didn't do it. The first period belonged to Knoxville. They outshot the Mayhem 13-9, outscored them 4-1. Stepan Timofeyev scored the whitey-tighty toss goal that launched lots of cold weather clothing that will benefit Daybreak, Project DePaul, a local homeless shelter here in Macon. So a great cause for Stepan Timofeyev and a great way to score his first goal with the Mayhem. He would score again 29 seconds into the second period, which would bring the Mayhem within a pair. And a crossbar shot by Stathis Sumilidis, which a lot of folks here thought was in the net. It was not. Play continued. Marcus Ortiz with a power play goal, 5:10 into the third period, giving the Mayhem plenty of time to tie this game up. But Hayden Stewart and the Ice Bears held tall and kept the Mayhem at bay. 4-3 the final score here in Macon tonight. Again, folks, we hope you enjoyed the broadcast in spite of the interruptions. We apologize for them. From my understanding, the third period went smoothly. There were no issues or interruptions there. I've been given the thumbs up from our cameraman, Nathaniel Dauphin. So third period was good. We should be good tomorrow night on that front. So again, we apologize and thank you for your patience as we figured out that matter throughout the game. On YouTube, thanks so much for joining us. We hope you enjoyed the broadcast in spite of the outcome. One more time, the Ice Bears with 4, the Mayhem with 3, and we hope to see you out here tomorrow night as the Mayhem host the Birmingham Bulls on Cancer Awareness Night. Till then, Alex Von Coitel signing off. So long, everyone.